Come on, buddy. What? Hold on, guys. Hold on, just a minute. We'll get Mom out here in just a second, okay? Well, hold on. Hold on, buddy. Guys, I can't see the screen. I'm cleaning my glasses. If there's anybody here right now, give me just a second, please. Oh, there we go. Oh, I can see now. All right. Can you hear me? Oh, Brother Mike. And there's Barbara. Good deal. God bless you. It's good to see you. I'm using a different microphone. I've never used this one before. How am I coming in? Can you hear me? Long Island Bigfoot. Shoot, yeah. Brother Kevin. It's fantastic to see you. See you all. Is this microphone working all right for you? Sounds great, Barbara says. There's Tracy. Brother JD. We got Rachel. Jay Cree. It's good to see everyone. Who else? Did we miss anybody? I hope not. And Brother Don. Good deal. Thank you all. And Brother Michael Deere. So good to see everyone. Michael Bishop. I can see really good. Same glasses, but I set the tablet up a little different this time, and for some reason it's well, I did the update. It's been due for an update for a while, and I got behind on it. Hey, baby, I see you in the chat. I got all the babies around my feet. And Sweet Pea is hungry. Ruth got here from California. Well, welcome. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad everyone made it. It's been a heck of a time lately. Flat Rock Booger and Juanita, so good to see everyone. I'll always love that name, Flat Rock Booger. That is awesome. Toby, yes, all is well. We are getting past all of our trials and things that we've had to endure these last couple of weeks. It's been pretty rough. Brother Mike Stone, it's so good to see you all. I've got to apologize for the light being so bright. I can't get it any further away from me. It's been raining, so I had to do a different setup so the tablet's not sitting in water, and I can't reach far enough out to put the light further away from me. So it's probably extremely bright. Rosemary Andrews, good to see you. Ida Bustamante. His brother Dennis. Yeah, Barbara, the storms are just south of us. It's still lightning, that flash lightning. I don't know why my screen is backwards. I'm pointing to my left, and on screen, I'm pointing to the right. I'm pointing to the north. I don't know why it's doing that. I don't know how to fix that. But south is that way, and that's where all the storms are. They came from our north. Oh, thank you so much, Long Island Bigfoot. Thank you all. So many of you have reached out to help us as we're going through these, and just, it's been a rough time. And so many of you have reached out just with so much love to help us. And I cannot just give enough praise to you for it. Thank you greatly. You guys are the reason that we're able to overcome the things that we've been through these last few weeks. It has been, it's been overwhelming. And when I lost Piglet, she absolutely means the world to me. And anytime I've dealt with anything that hits me emotionally, whether it's with sorrow or if it's anger, if it's something that I need to get away to sort my thoughts, I go to the woods, and that's where I've always done it. And it has rained every day except for yesterday. And I thought today was going to be a rain-free day, but it was up until not long ago, and we had a pretty bad one come through. JCL Ohio, good to see you. Thank you guys so much for jumping over. Oh, I was in a rush to get set up. I could not find. I know it, girl. Hold on. That's Cupcake. She's wanting her bottle. But I have a small tripod, and like in this situation, everything's wet. There's muck everywhere. And I would use that tripod to put the tablet on it to keep it out of the muck. And I have no idea where I put it. Oh, there's JK. It's good to see you. Absolutely good to see everybody. I'm looking off to the side. I'm not steering away from my camera's right here on this side, but my comments are popping up on this side for me to see what you guys are writing. So I'm kind of back and forth. Kim's feeding the babies. She's got 5 of them around her feet right now, but there's only 2 that are on the bottle.
Somebody here thinks he's on the bottle too. Look.
Yeah, Sweet Pea's he's been up here talking to me. But anyhow, I ended up, I got a very tiny tripod. It's literally that tall, and it extends to probably around 15 or 16 inches high, and it's one that Brother Jeff gave me. And I normally use it if I go out in the woods. I'll use it on a stump, or I'll set it on the hood of the car, and I use it for filming a lot. But it's almost too short to use what I needed it for here. The ground's muddy, so I'm standing on a heavy-duty feeder, a feed box, and I've got another feed box on top of this little box house, this goat shelter, and then I got that little tripod on top of that feed box. So it's kind of flimsy. If I touch it, it moves quite a bit. But it's working. I've got it working. I will locate that other tripod unless I accidentally threw it out. I think my comments have froze. I hope not. I just done an update on this tablet, and it changed the appearance where everything's located on the home page for it has changed. And I had it off for 2 days, and I turned it on this evening to charge it up to make sure I was at 100%, and it said it was ready to install the update. So I hit install, and it changed everything on the tablet, and so it's far different. Brother Connor, it's good to see you, buddy. Oh, good. For those of you that were with us today, when I went to the beach, we took Rosie to go swimming just to get away from the house for a while. And using my phone, I tried out the YouTube live stream. I've never used it. I attempted to use it a while back, and I didn't go that route when I was trying to get it set up, because I couldn't put the little banner that's up here in the corner. I wasn't able to put that up, and it's not important that I have it up, but it's just my personal preference. I like to see it. It's something that me and Kim designed. I did it on my phone, and it took us quite a while to get it the way we wanted it, and so we use it a lot. We were wanting to get some shirts printed, and we actually did print a few shirts. I've got a very low budget vinyl machine to cut vinyl, and we've done a couple. It's not professional grade by any means, but we were wanting to print up some shirts or some nice hoodies or something on that sort. And throughout the year, just pick someone at random out of our YouTube family and send it to them, just as a gift, an appreciation gift. And we've been hit so hard this year, we put it on the back burner. we're still going to be doing that. It's just going to be a little ways off. But when we went to the beach, I tried out the YouTube live stream. That was the first time I actually used it. And I really loved how simple it was to start it, to get it going. It was just a matter of click and go live. Basically, you had a couple things to do, but nothing major. But you don't have a lot of options of what you can do in the background. You can't put the little banner that's right there at the bottom of the screen, right there. You can't put those up that I know of. There may be a way to do it, but I don't think you can do it from a mobile device. And so it's something I will be using it more often because I do like the ease of it. And from what I could tell, the sun was so bright it had my screen almost blacked out. And I could see the blocks when the comments would show up. On this platform I'm using now, the comments come up on the right side of the screen. It's a dedicated portion just for the comments, and they're very clear. If you got good eyes, they're really clear to see. But on the YouTube, they come up over the top of the window, which you guys are seeing right now, seeing me in the screen. The comments would be laid out like right here. They would be scrolling up through the screen. And so it makes it a little hard seeing what you're trying to film to show everyone in the distance because comments are going by. But I couldn't read them. It was so bright, and my eyes are not good, and there just wasn't no way. There's no way to enlarge them, and I did try. Denise, it's good to see you. I thank you guys so much. And yeah, we lost Piglet and my father-in-law, and it's been a rough time, but all good things eventually, they don't come to an end. They just get paused, and we get to push play on those good things later in life once we jump over to the other side. Francesca, it's good to see you. Absolutely, always good to see Francesca. But it was nice to get away, nice to get to the beach, and I know a lot of you live quite a ways from us, and there's a lot of you that are living in other countries. We got quite a few from Australia. I think we got a couple of people from Greenland, I believe, or shoot, I don't remember. But they're a little ways off, and there's a big cockroach coming up. Oh, come on now. But a lot of folks haven't been to the Gulf Coast, and it's beautiful almost all the way around it. It's beautiful beaches, white beaches, and the ocean is normally really clear and just emerald green. It's just visually appealing. It's an awesome place, and I wanted to share that with those people who've never seen it. And it's a wonderful area. The spot that we went to is known as Pier Park, and it's a tourist trap. And they have so many outlet stores, different types. There's little pubs, there's little eateries, there's full-blown restaurants, there's taverns and bars, and just all whatever your pickle in life is, they offer it there. And we tried to film what we could. It's such a large place, it would have took us several hours to go around the entire area and film it all. And we had to get back to the animals. We left them here. I thought we were gone about 4 hours, and we were gone 6 hours. We had a few stops to make. Oh, there's Deborah and Sister Sandra. Praise God. So good to see everybody. Juanita is here. Did I miss anybody? I hope not. I'm looking. Bama Bigfoot. There you are. Brother Jeff is probably working. That man works more than anybody I know. Making sure I haven't missed anyone. Good deal. but I've got a few things we're going to try to put together and work out soon. The weather is going to be, it's either going to make it or break it as far as getting out there. And it's some areas that I'm going to visit and I'm going to film in the areas. And one of them, I have filmed there before, and I've gotten a lot of activity in there. I don't like that particular spot in that area because 9 times out of 10, when I'm back there, something happens. You get a very overpowering feeling that you have eyes on you, and it's not a good feeling at all. It's a very unclean feeling. But there's another, that area is large, and normally when I go, I'm going on the south end of it. There's a beautiful section on the north end, and I've only filmed there one time, but I never uploaded the video. Coin Digger, I knew you'd be here sooner or later. It's good to see you. Absolutely, so good to see everybody. But that area, that's where Kim's youngest son and I went up there hunting one year. Don, it's an area, it's north of Caryville, Florida, and it's very close to, I don't remember the name of the creek. There's 2 creeks back there, and that area is very close to those 2 creeks. If you walk far enough, you'll actually you'll walk to the creek, but it gets really swampy when you get close to it. But there's a hill. It's just a ridge that runs through that area, and when you're in the you have to go through the swamp water to get to it. And when you come out the other side, the ground gradually, it climbs up to this ravine, and it's probably I would guess 60 to 70 yards from the edge of the swamp water to the top of the ravine, and then it tapers off once you go over the top of it, over that ridge. And we were in the water, we were hog hunting, and we thought there were pigs in the brush at the end of the swamp, the little water slough that we were in. And so we spread out. I'm thinking we were about 20 or 30 feet apart from one another, and we were pushing, easing through that water, trying to come up on the brush, the bushes at the end of that little swamp water, because we could hear what sounded like pigs rooting around and making a heck of a noise inside those bushes. And it's a bunch of scrub oaks. Before we could get to the end of it, where we could get out on the bank and try to circle around and get the pigs cornered where we can get a shot on them, something broke out of the going away from us, going up that ridge, come out of them bushes. And at first I thought it was a coyote, a black coyote, and 3.5 to 4 feet tall. He was on 2 legs, and he ran from those bushes, that little thick growth area. He ran from there all the way up that 60 to 70 yards up to the top of that ridge, over it, and out of sight on 2 legs the entire time. And I had a little flip phone, then it had a camera on it, and I was filming because Kim's son at that point had never harvested any animal hunting, and I wanted to get him shooting a pig on video for him. And we got it on video, and you couldn't make it out. It was really grainy. All you could see is what appeared to be like a 5 or 6 year old kid running away with a real goofy stride. It was really strange the way it moved. But it wasn't until a few years later that I've learned more about what they're calling the dog man, and I'm sort of thinking that may have been what it was. It wasn't big. It wasn't intimidating at all. It was just odd. It was just a really goofy thing to see. I do not have that video any longer. I don't have that phone anymore. Now, that phone you couldn't save, but maybe 10 minutes of videos on it combined. And then to save anything else, you'd have to delete one of them. And it wasn't clear enough to tell anything. It looked like a child running, and it was not a child. It was definitely a dog on two legs. What's the matter? One of the babies are fussing. I just seen JK, I hope you don't mind, brother. I'm going to put this up. JK's been with us for a while. He's part of our family here. And said, I'd appreciate prayers. I believe that God is calling me to step into a different phase of ministry. I don't know what yet, but I feel like he will reveal it. Guys, please add our brother JK into your prayers this evening. And let's send some prayers to him that this will be revealed to him and he'll be suited, equipped to take on whatever it is that God has him, bringing him into doing. JK is absolutely, without a doubt, a pure, true man of God. I've spoke to him several times on the phone and on email, and he's a wonderful man. He's absolutely full of love for the Lord. So please add him to your prayers. I will absolutely do that for you, brother. Absolutely. Denise, thank you so much. Oh, wow. Our sister Denise lost a friend this week as well. I'm so sorry for you. We'll definitely be praying for you, my sister. Absolutely. And thank you, guys. Everybody sending prayers for JK and our sister Denise. There's so many people here, a lot of people here in our family here on YouTube that have had losses this week and the last few weeks. And if you guys are needing prayers, please reach out to me. And, that's one thing that our family here at Standing Goats does. We are absolutely prayer warriors. Squatch and Cowboy, good to see you, my brother. I'm glad you made it. There's Sharon Guy, Southern Grits, Sister Jean. Y'all snuck in on me. It's so good to see everyone. What a phenomenal group of people we have here. Wow, it's so good. But I was talking, I don't remember who I was talking to. It was just the day before yesterday. I think it was Jeff, our brother Jeff Townsend. I don't remember, but it seems like it was Jeff. But looking back at all of the odd things that have happened to me, the strange things I've witnessed, and a lot of it, I've rejected it as some type of hallucination. I didn't want to accept it. And it wasn't, none of it was bad, but it was stuff that was just, it was beyond the natural. And even with the things I've seen with my own eyes, it was things that happened. I refused to accept it and I moved on. And, Connor, I just seen your message there. You guys going to Tennessee. Get up with me tomorrow if you can, please. I'd love to talk to you. And I will be getting up with our brother Connor, and that's Bigfoot Anon right there in the chat. And if you're not part of his family on his YouTube channel, please jump over there and subscribe and help him build his channel up so he can get some of the things that YouTube keeps away from us until we hit 1,000 subscribers. It's ridiculous. But to live stream, you got to have 1,000 subscribers. To do anything, you got to be at that threshold, and I have no idea why they do that. But as I was saying, I get off track, guys. I'm very OCD and ADHD and all that other alphabet junk. I don't take drugs for none of it. when I acted out when I was young, Daddy got the belt to me and it straightened me up a lot faster than any medication could. But I get off track very easily. One of the things, if it was Jeff I was talking to, I don't remember. I'm thinking it was, but whoever it was I was speaking to, I was telling him, if you guys remembered, I think it was either early this year or the end of last year. There's a man not too far from me, and he was having these creatures, the Sasquatch, come up to his home. They were knocking on all of his walls, on his windows. They were throwing stuff on his roof, and he lives alone in the woods. And I asked him about bringing a friend up there because I don't like being out in the woods by myself where these creatures are at. Me personally, I'm scared of them. I don't want to be around them. And he would not allow me to bring nobody up there. And so I told him, I said, well, I'll come up there and I'll walk around in the woods on one side of his house. The woods that come around behind his house, when you get to the edge of them and you're still in his yard, it is a very nasty feeling. It's a bad feeling. And so I did not at all have any intentions of going behind his house. But the woods in front of his house, excuse me. Oh, thank you. Squatching Cowboy said it'd be great if I can come out there and join him. That would be fantastic. I would love to, and it may be possible here soon. Things are changing for us for the better. And transportation, that problem's going to be fixed very soon. Everything's coming together. It's just a lot of things got thrown in our path between now and the point that we get on our feet. But when I went up to his house and I went in the woods on the front side of his house, which is south, I believe. It's really thick. You have to bust through this wall of vines, and most of it is the wild muscadines. September 4th and 5th. I should have a dependable vehicle by then. That would be fantastic, and I'll talk with Connor tomorrow and find out about that. I would love to go up and hang out with you guys. That would be a blessing. But we getting back to this guy's property. The woods behind him, he owns, and the woods in front of him, he owns up to a certain point. He doesn't own a lot of the property in front of his place. I don't know how many acres, but it's not as big as what's behind him. And I finally made it through this wall of vines, and it opens up in there, and there's a game trail. It's 3 foot wide, a huge game trail. I've never seen a game trail like that in the wild. Oh, thank you so much, Brother Gene. Oh, thank you so much. God bless you. Defuniac Gene. Defuniac is close to me. I would love to get up and meet you in person. Absolutely. Well, that would be fantastic. I'm reading the chats, guys. I'm trying to stay on top of it. It's hard for me to do 2 things at once. But anyhow, when I got on this game trail, I started following it, and due to the Hurricane Michael, there are quite a few trees down in this area, big trees. Some of them are probably 30 inches in diameter. There's massive trees. And they're not broke off, they're uprooted where they were blown over. They got a huge canopy on them, so it's just a big wind cell. And the game trail, you could see where it went straight, and then all of these trees fell over and blocked the trail. And the trail is routed. It's the clearance under the trees is plenty enough for a full-grown buck with a huge head of horns on him to walk under it. And the first tree that I come to, I bent over and I had my hand on my knee so I got a bad back and I have to support myself. But I was able to walk under it without it touching my back. They're that high off the ground. But whatever is making this game trail detoured and went around the root balls of the tree where the roots kicked up out of the ground. they were either too big to go under the tree, they were too afraid to go under it, or I don't know. I don't know why they went around it. Every animal that I'm familiar with in Florida could have easily walked under those trees that were down. And they, whatever made this trail didn't. They went around it. And it is not a horse trail. What's so strange, I got a goat sleeping on my foot, one of the babies. What's so strange about this trail, it's 3.5 feet wide. It's clean sand. There's very few leaves on it, and there's not one track, not one deer track. There's no animal tracks, but it's batted down. The ground's batted down. It's just a really strange thing to find out there. But I followed it just for a short piece, maybe 100 yards, and I took a left. The lake, there's a lake or a little pond out there on the right side. I turned to the left, and it goes up on this hill, and it's opened up, and there's a tree down. There's a big tree that blew over as soon as I got into this clearing, and it's got the wild grapevines they're still alive. The tree's dead, but these vines are still alive, and they're all up in the dead limbs on this tree. There's no, at this time when I went out there, the muscadines, they weren't ripe yet, but a lot of them were purple, but there were still a lot of green ones on the vine, and most of them were full. These up to about 12 to 13 foot off the ground, there wasn't a grape to be found. They were gone. Now up past that point, the vines were loaded. They were just slap full of them, and I thought that was odd. But I didn't think a whole lot about it. Something's eating them. Birds, maybe. I don't know. But well, there was another tree down. This first tree was as soon as I got into this clearing, and it goes uphill, not steep. It goes up to a rise, and at the top of the rise, there's another tree that fell over, and it's laying flat on the ground. And when I got up to the second tree, it's broke off. All the trees that are blown over from the hurricane are all laid the same direction. I think it's sort of a southeast. The tops of the trees would be pointing toward what I think is the southeast. Well, this one tree is laid with the top of it is facing northeast, I think. Almost the complete opposite. The same, what I think is east. They're pointing east, but instead of pointing toward the south, it's definitely pointing toward the north. Pretty hard north. But when I get up on the tree, I see that it's broke off, and it looks like the tree was twisted until all the fibers were busted. And the trunk is only about 2 foot high. What's sticking out of the ground, it's got the splits. They spiral around it like a candy cane, like it was twisted. And it wasn't a real big tree. It was probably maybe 7 or 8 inches in diameter. There were leaves and some odd green moss, or very soft, almost a fuzzy moss. There were little piles of leaves, probably the size of my hand, and maybe 50 leaves. They were green. They were just picked. And this fresh green moss was piled on top of them. And there's several of these piles on this log. Well, I looked on the ground on the opposite side, and there's limbs that were just broke off, very small limbs. The largest was probably the size of a pencil, the thickness of it. Excuse me. Hey, Brother Mitch. Hope you just got here. Hope I didn't miss you earlier. If I did, I apologize. I just seen your name up there. Yeah, I will. But these limbs that were on the other side, they were all green. They were broke off, and all the leaves were stripped off of them. And it's not an oak tree. It's not a pine of any type. I don't know what kind of tree it is. The leaves were probably, have you ever seen a popcorn tree? They were about that size, sort of rounded, and they had little jagged edges, like the outside edge of them was jagged. A really bright green leaf. I don't know what type of tree it is, but they didn't come off the tree that was laying on the ground, the broken one. They came from somewhere else. All the trees that were right there around that area were oak trees. There was no other tree there but these oaks. And then it had these little round, whatever them leaves were. Somebody was playing, or it almost looked like they were making salads. They had the leaves in these piles, and then this little mound of this green, very almost furry looking moss. I don't know what kind of moss it was. I don't think I've ever seen it before. Good job, baby. I don't want to step on you. But as I was looking at it, I did film this while I was out in this area. I did film. I ended up deleting all of the footage. I got scared later. It was 2 hours or 3 hours of footage, and but when I was in this area where I found them leaves, I heard somebody call my name, and I heard it as plain as if somebody were 10 feet from me. It sounded 10 or 15 feet. It was close, and it was crystal clear, and it said Donnie, and that was it. And I turned naturally, expecting to see my buddy over there who owns the land and the house. There are no other houses. There's no other properties there. It's surrounded by state management land, hunting land. And it was not hunting season. Well, when I turned expecting to see him, it was not his voice at all. But that's the only person that lives out there, and it's the only person anywhere in that area that knows me. Turned around, there's nobody there. I can see for 75 to 85 feet. It's all open. I was in that open area. Well, I thought it was my imagination, and I turned around and I kept filming. But now I had the feeling I'm creeped out. Somebody's behind me. I didn't see anybody. It was in the middle of the day, probably 1 o'clock, between noon and 1. There was nobody out there. With all the leaf litter on the ground, I would have heard anybody. If they would have walked up on me, I would have absolutely heard them. It was dead quiet. But I had because I heard the voice come from behind me, kind of over my left shoulder, I was getting a sensation that somebody was behind me over my left shoulder. And I know it was most likely mental. It was my mind playing tricks on me because I thought I heard my name called. Well, I finally blew it off, and I probably walked 25 to 30 feet, and I was just examining this area. It had these pile of leaves with the moss, and it had all these limbs. All the leaves were stripped off. The limbs were kind of scattered, like somebody pulled the leaves off and just kind of chunked the limb. The limbs were everywhere. All the leaves were in a pile, as though someone were sitting on a log, pulling these leaves off and dropping them between their feet. And I was walking around looking to see if there were any more of these piles of leaves, just looking for anything, because I've never seen nothing like that. And I went 30 feet, 40 feet from that tree, and I could see down the hill. It started getting really thick, but I could see what looked like a sand bed, like an animal had made a big clearing in the sand. There's a big white spot up under the growth. And my intentions were to walk down there and see if it was from wild pigs, or if deer done it. There's no pigs out there that I'm aware of. I didn't see any sign of pigs at all. But I was going to go and check it out. And as I started walking toward it, my name's called again. And very loud, very deliberate. And it says Donnie. And it's coming from behind me, back up near the top of the hill where that tree was at that has them piles of leaves on it. And it ended up, I heard my name called 3 times on that hill. Well, I went down. That sandy spot was an old trail. It looked like maybe a 4-wheeler trail at one time. It was grown up. There were no tire tracks. There was no sign of people being out there at all. I did see a couple of deer tracks over there, but that was it. There was nothing else. Well, I followed that trail around, and I pulled my map up to see where I was at, and I was quite a ways from this man's house, a lot further than I wanted to be. I was almost a half a mile. And so looking at my map, I tried to find the shortest path to get me back up to his house, but get me around that hill where I had my name called. Well, I found me a path, a couple of small game trails, deer trails that I was following. And I thought I was about 200 yards due west of that hill, which if I were in the area I thought I was at, then I could have continued the direction I was walking about 200 yards, and I would have been back on that real large game trail. And it's wide open. I've got a compass. I've got my GPS pulled up, my map I'm following. And I started panicking, like severe anxiety. My heart started racing, and just confusion came over me. I didn't know where I was. I got turned around, and I wasn't sure, am I 200 yards from where I need to be, or am I 2 miles? I had no idea where I was at. And I'm looking at my GPS. I'm looking at my map. There's a blip, a little blue dot that shows where I'm at. And on one side, if I'm headed north on that blue dot, on the north side, there'll be a little fan shape. It starts out narrow at the blue dot down here, and it widens out. It shows you the direction that you're moving. Well, when I got confused and I was looking back at it and make sure I was on the right path, there was no blue dot on the screen. It's like I wasn't even there. It's the GPS glitched or something. Something happened. It messed up. It showed the area. I could see I set it up to leave a dotted lines. Wherever I walked at, there's a dotted line, and that's how I find my way back. The dotted lines weren't even on the screen. The lake that was to my left was there. I could look over and see it. It was 50 or 60 yards from me. It was on the map, but all the dotted lines that led up to where I was at, they were gone. So I zoomed out on the screen, and my path was about 300 or 400 yards further away from me than what it was, or what it should have been. Because I didn't, when I pull my map up, I don't zoom out and I don't zoom in. I keep it wherever it opens up at. I don't know what the setting is, but it's whatever the factory setting is when I open that map. And I had to zoom out quite a bit to see my path. The dots ended in an area that looked exactly like where I was standing at that time. There was a lake to my left, just like where I was standing. I could see the lake. But on my GPS map, all my dots were 300 yards away from me, and I could see where they went and where they ended. It should have been a blue dot there showing me, and it wasn't. There was no blue dot. And so I zoomed back in to where I thought I was at when I zoomed out trying to find my path, and there the blue dot was. It showed up that time. But the little yellow dots leading up to me were still 300 yards away from me. I started walking, going back to get back to where them dots were so I could find my way out. And when I get up on them, as I'm walking to that spot on my map, it's leaving the yellow dots behind me. And if you look at the map, it looks like I started my my trace. That's the dots that it puts on screen of wherever you've been. It looks like I started it by this other lake. It's like I never turned on my GPS until I got to that lake, and then I turned it on. It was such a strange thing. But when I got back where I should have been, then the dots that I was originally following, then they were back, like they were back connected to me again on the map. And I've never had that happen. If I weren't so lost, I would say that was just a glitch in that map. And that is the Hunt Stand. It's a hunting app that we use. Chris and I got it together. We paid for the annual subscription. If one of us gets lost in the woods, I can click on his name and it'll show me exactly where he's at. And he can do the same for me. And it's just a safety feature because we do practice the buddy system when we hunt. But I also use it if I'm going on a hike by myself. I use it all the time, and it has never done that. Well, I got back to where I was supposed to have been, and that should have put me about 200 yards from that hill. And I'm looking at the map. I could see my dots where I went up to the hill where I had my name called. And then I left, and then it had that one line that just started out by that other lake. The whole thing was really strange. But I knew where I was at then. So I took a hard left because if I would have continued straight, I would have ended up back on that hill again. And I did not want to be on that hill because I just had such a bad feeling. When my name was called, I got really spooked in there. As I'm walking to go around this, I'm looking at my GPS map. I'm looking at my compass. I know where I'm going. And I was firm in my mind. I knew exactly where I was, and I knew exactly where I was going. As I was headed to the waypoint, I put a waypoint on my map so I can make a straight line and follow that line and get back to that big game trail. And I stayed on that line. And I look up and I see the tree laying on the ground with all the grapes that were missing up to about the 12 or 13 foot mark. I was back on top of that hill again. And on my map, the straight line I drew was almost 200 yards at the closest point to that hill. And following that line to avoid going anywhere near that hill put me back on top of the hill. And that scared me. And once I got up there, I seen my boot print where I went around that tree. The ground was real soft with the roots kicked up, and I seen my boots. And so I turned, and I was going to follow my boot tracks and go straight to that game trail. So I wasn't far from it. And my name gets called again. And that scared me. My heart started racing, and I just started moving. I didn't look back. And then I got growled at 2 times. I've made it to the game trail, and I got out of there. And I have not went back. When I got home, I was very anxious to edit the video, the footage, because as loud as my name was called, there was no way that would not have been on the video. It was so extremely loud. It was as though somebody were behind me and calling my name with raising their voice a little bit. It was louder than a normal, just saying, "Hey, Donnie." It was a little louder than that, but it was not a yell. When I edited the video, there was no voice in it, nowhere. When it got to where the growls happened, I did have the growls. They showed up, but when when I first got on the hill, my name was called 3 times as I crossed that hill. All 3 times it came from the same direction. Now, I don't know exactly where the second 2 times. I know where it happened the first time. I was right at that tree. And as I'm editing the video, it was dead silent. There was not no noise of wind. There was no birds. There was nothing. The only thing I could hear is my breathing. And as I move, I could hear my pants rub together and I could hear my footsteps. When I got past it, where I think my name was called the second time, I had a growl on the video, but I never heard it. I heard my name called, but I never did hear a growl till the way out. But I panicked so much in that video. When I got lost, I got really scared, and I wasn't running, but I was moving quick to try to get out of there. It felt as though I had uh, the feeling I got was as though there were people, crazy people, that were wanting to take my life, that were out there in the woods hunting me down, and they knew where I was, and I knew the general direction where they were, but I couldn't see them. That was the feeling I got. It was that intense, and it scared me pretty bad. When I got back to the car, I ended up getting sick. It scared me so bad. But when I started editing the video, the only thing that came up was the growls, and uh, I've caught the growls on video more times than I care to count. But there's only been a handful of times that I've caught them that I didn't hear them. Well, it's probably been quite a few times. But as loud as it showed up, the one that happened the second time I heard my name called, there was no name on video at all. There was no voice. It was just a growl, just that one growl. But it was so loud, it sounded like whatever growled was literally beside me. It was right there. But he had asked me, I ended up, I deleted the video. I didn't use none of it. When I started getting scared, when I watched the video to edit it, it embarrassed me the way that I acted. I was so scared, and I just didn't want to post that. But the man who owns the land, it was probably 2 or 3 weeks later, had asked me if I wanted to go up and check it. He started having more activity, and I told him no, I don't want to go back up there. He doesn't want anybody else to come on his property, and I know why now. I didn't know at the time, but I found out. I went up, his car broke down, and so I went up to bring him a battery charger so he could charge his car up, and he made the mistake of, he had his shed door open where his car is, and he's growing plants. They're not your typical ornamental plants, and I'm not going to go any further into that, but I think that's why he didn't want nobody up there. He's doing stuff he shouldn't be doing, and he is an older man. He's older than I am. I think he's got probably 15 years on me or more. But anyhow, I'm not going to go back up there unless he'll allow me to bring somebody with me. That was a really horrible area. But what caused me to bring this up and to share it with you, when I was talking to, I think it was Jeff, he was talking about a lot of the things that I'm sorry, this Littlefoot is coughing. He doesn't have pneumonia. He's had it a dozen times, but he's got lung problems. His lungs are underdeveloped, and most of his organs are. He was supposed to have died a long time ago, and he's doing fantastic. But he's got a chronic cough. He coughs all the time. There's nothing that can be done about it. I heard him. I didn't know it was him coughing. I'm sorry. But I got sidetracked, guys. I apologize. When I was talking to Jeff, because we were discussing. He's been out several times with people doing the research, the Bigfoot groups, the Sasquatch groups, whatever they call themselves. There's a bunch of wonderful people doing that, and don't let nobody ever tell you otherwise. They're doing stuff that there's no way I do it. I am not that brave. But they're going out at night. A lot of them are doing this by themselves, and not me. No way. But um, Jeff was saying because of my Native American background, my ancestry, that there's something to that. And I've heard it probably a dozen times from other people. I've heard people telling me directly, and then I've seen it on other channels. A lot of these Bigfoot researchers interviewing people that have a lot of encounters, and they're finding out that a good portion of these people that are having just bizarre experiences all the time are Native American, or they're descendants of Native Americans. And as we were talking about it, I told Jeff about having my name called. And I've heard my name called before, but it would be really faint, and the way I would hear it, it seemed like a thought, like I heard it in my head, not in my ears. What I heard over at that man's place, I heard with my ears. It was very loud, and it was off. I could hear it. It was stronger from my left ear. It came out of my left side, just behind me, and 3 different times I heard it. When I was coming back, when it done it again, as I accidentally came back into that area, that came from in front of me and sort of to the right a little bit, but it was the same direction where I was up. It was like my hard right was where that tree was broke off, and that's where I heard it called the first time. And I was kind of going, I don't know the directions. I'm confusing myself now, but the tree was hard right, and that time when I heard it, it was coming from very close to where that tree was broke off. So it was coming from my right side. But I've been thinking about, when I talked to Jeff about that, it got me to thinking about all the other things that I've heard and I've seen through the years that I've blown off. And I don't know if it's imagination. Um, most of the things, well, the one thing that I've seen, I have seen a lot of the big guys, the Sasquatch. I have seen them, absolutely. I've seen them out of my peripheral, and I've seen them looking straight on at them. But these, normally I would see them out of my peripheral, but I have seen them looking straight at them. But they move so fast, and they're small. And I would always convince myself that it was a bird flying, and it just happened to cross in front of me. And normally when I'm going in, like when we're hunting, is most of the time when I see them is when we're hunting. And Chris had seen one before, and I think it was this past year. But we follow game trails going into the area that we're hunting. We don't follow the trail that we're actually hunting, trying to catch the buck that's working that trail. We won't walk on that one. But the trails like the pigs would make, we would take those trails to get us back to where our stand is. And normally it would be probably 30 feet, sometimes out to about 50. But it looks like little small people. It's not people, it's not human, but it's got 2 legs, 2 arms, a head. It looks like a human shape. I don't know what you call that. Humanoid. It's a humanoid shape, and they're always very dark, either dark brown or black, and they move extremely fast. And normally they'll dart across the trail in front of me. And what got me to thinking that they weren't low flying birds, because they don't make any noise, you don't hear them at all, you'll just see them. But what caused me to think that it's not a bird is there was I think it's called Caught on Camera, I think is the name of the show. And people that see the Sasquatch, the Bigfoot, oh, happy 2 Bears. It's good to see you, brother. I'm glad you're here. Always glad to see Pappy. But that show that I've seen, It's on the television. It's I can't remember the name of it now, but people catch. I've seen a lot of the where they catch the Sasquatch on video, and they catch these other creatures and these screams, and they post that stuff on that TV show. And they had a couple was, um, I don't remember where they were at. It was in the United States. They were in a park, and it looked like they were maybe going up a mountain. It was going uphill, and they were on a walking path, a pretty narrow walking path, and it was vegetation really thick on both sides. And there was a tree down just ahead of them, 15 feet, 20 feet, and it was on the left side of the trail. The tree was broke and fell over, and they were filming their hike, and this little person looking creature, probably a foot tall, come darting across the path really fast. It was a blur. He went by so fast. And when they showed it on that video, they slowed it down, and it looked like a 1 foot, foot and a half tall Sasquatch is what it looked like to me. Or maybe a hairy alien. It was a very strange little creature. But before they slowed it down, when they showed it in real time, how fast it went, that's exactly what I've seen a bunch of times. And it hasn't been just in the area that I hunt. I've seen it in probably 6 or 7 different areas. In Mariana, where I had my encounter at, off of 73, there were a lot of us that hunted that area for the wild pigs, and everyone in our group had seen them things. And yeah, Connor says the Ewok. That's what was the Ewok? Is that thing from Star Trek that Harry? No, that was I don't remember what that thing was. I'm not up to date on the movies. I heard of Ewok before though. But anyhow, it's got me to thinking that that's what those creatures are. And I don't know if it's the same thing as what you hear people talking about, the little people, because it did look like people. But I've never seen one stop where I could see his face clear, and it definitely was not that like that frog that we seen at the lease here recently. These things are different. I don't know what they are. O'Connor says the small furry guy in Star Wars. Oh, I know what you're talking about. He had the goggles on his head. Yeah, Kim likes the Star Wars. I do want to run something by you guys. We have a prayer request. My family has one to ask of you. Kim's brother, her older brother Pat, is in the hospital, and he is in bad shape. He has got the cooties. He caught the cootie bug, the second strain that's going around on it, and they got him on the machines, but now he's got a buildup of carbon dioxide in his blood. Now it's kidneys. He's going into kidney failure. You guys please send some prayers out to Pat. That's Kim's brother, Pat. It's not looking good for him right now, but we don't have the final decision and what anybody's outcome is. The Creator, the Almighty God Himself, is the only one that has that decision. So please send prayers out for Pat. We got to get him out of that hospital. Maybe he'll see the light and glory of the Almighty God and be enlightened. Sure hope it does. Puck Wedgie. Is that the same thing I just seen where Brother Don says a puck wedgie? I missed somebody. Let me see. Where am I at? I got behind. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah. Oh, Deborah says the puck wedgies. I have heard of that. Ryan from Ryan Tremblay. I can't remember the name of this his channel. I talked to him one night, and he was explaining a lot of the different uh, creatures that are like the Sasquatch. And he named off several of them. Some of these things are really violent, aggressive beings, whatever they are. But we've got a lot of areas. Chris is going to be able to join me in some of them. He's taking a different route, trying to get his business up and going. Ian Taylor. Ian made it. Good deal. It's good to see you. Thank you for being here. Absolutely. Don says, here they lure you into another dimension where you can't be seen by search and rescue. You know, I'm gonna throw this up with Brother Don. They just said, I have heard, I haven't been on YouTube in a couple of weeks since all this has happened, but before Kim's father got bad off, I started catching videos, and these are people that I believe are truthful. And that's what they were talking about. A lot of the Native Indians from Canada and United States, North American Indians, were talking about these creatures. Some of them live in the rock. They're actually inside of these boulders. And the Native Americans, the ancient ones, the elders, believed that people would get close to these rocks and these beings would somehow pull them into the rock. They would just vanish. They'd be a party of them hiking. One guy would vanish in the middle of the party, and nobody seen him go. There were no screams, no nothing. And they never find him. They don't find any of his belongings. He's just gone. And then I heard David Paulides, he had brought that up. And that hadn't been that long ago. Maybe a month ago, he was talking about that same story about these beings. Somehow they're in a dimension or something, but they live in the rocks, and they'll snatch people off the trail and pull them in the rock. And I know it sounds strange and far out, but guys, we live in a strange world. The veil's getting very thin. Most of you know that we lost our beloved Piglet last Friday. 4 or 5 nights ago, I think it was Monday night, I had a very rough time, and I prayed. I was very angry. Spiritually, I was broken. And the one thing that I kept praying and asking the Father, I said, you know how loving Piglet is. She's a prize when it comes to a life. She's never sinned. No animal has ever sinned. And I asked him, I said, I know Piglet's going to be coming home soon, but please take her in her sleep. Don't let her suffer. I don't want her. She does not deserve that. She deserves far greater than I could ever give her. And I prayed about that and prayed about it, and it didn't work out that way. And I was pretty distraught over it. And I think it was Monday, between 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning, I came outside. There wasn't a car to be heard. It was dead silent. And I went on the front porch, or just off our front little 4x4 porch area. And when I'm outside at night by myself, I have a habit. I look up into the stars and I talk to God. And I say it the way it is. You can't keep nothing from him. If you're upset with him, he already knows it. You can't cover it up. You can't hide it. And I like to confess, whether good or bad. If I've done something bad, I want to tell him with my mouth. I want him to hear it from me. I don't want to hold it. And I went out front and I looked up and I was going to start talking to him. And there was, I don't know, it wasn't an airplane, but there were like a string of lights. It was red lights. I think it was 4 of them, but it was a red and a white, red and a white. And they were, the red was on top of the white. And it wasn't stretched out across the sky, but the height it was at, it was probably 400 foot long. It was a large plane, if that's what it was. There was no sound at all, and we can definitely hear the planes. We have an airport not far from here, probably 16 miles as the crow flies. But the airport is southwest of our home. This thing was directly overhead, and it was heading due east. But it was almost as though somebody was towing it with a truck or something. It was crawling. It wasn't moving fast at all. And we watch planes all the time in the skies. I'm always looking up. We've seen so many, what I believe are UFOs, so many balls of light up there playing in the daytime. We've seen them at night. We've seen a lot of really odd things. And the planes, even if they're really, really high, when they go past, they're moving at a pretty good clip. This thing was not. It was creeping. And the lights, it was a red light and a white one, and they would flash. It would be a red flash, and then right below it would be a white flash. They were on top of one another, but it was red and white, and red and white, red and white. There were 4 sets of these lights, and I looked up at it, and I didn't know what it was. It was not a helicopter. It was not an airplane. It was not a blimp. The stars that were in the sky beyond it, as the lights went past, if it were a blimp, it would have blacked out the stars that it was passing, and it did not. It almost appeared to be shaped like a pencil, like a long pencil. I don't know what it was, but that was on Monday night. I seen it, and I was going to pray and just speak my mind, what I wanted to say to God, and that thing just I got a really bizarre feeling from it, and so I ended up just going back inside, and I went back to bed. But there's a lot of weird things that are happening. People are seeing some very strange creatures. They're having a lot of demonic cases, exorcisms. There is so much going on right now in the unseen world, but them things are leaking over into our world. And there are good, honest people that are witnessing these things. And there's so much of it happening. And we went to the lease just a couple of days ago. I did the short video from the shooting house. I was going to go for a walk out there, and it started raining again. And so I just went up in the shooting house, and I recorded that video I shared with you all. Oh, Brother Dennis, Jay Cree, I'm sorry I didn't see you guys in there. I see you in the chat now. I'm sorry about that. Shoot. Hope I haven't missed anyone. Les Stroud has an episode about Sasquatch where the knocking sound came from inside a tree. And I have recently, about a month ago, I heard, it was a video. I was listening to it. I wasn't watching it, but I was listening to it with my earbuds. And whoever was on there was saying that they thought it was wood knocks from one of these big creatures beating on a tree. And these guys, I don't know how many were there, they followed the knocking sound to the area where they thought it was. And there was nothing to be seen. And the knocks stopped. And so they were going to continue and go further into the woods looking for the knocks. And as they walked around this big tree, this huge tree, the knocks happened, and one of the guys was on one side of the tree and the other guy was on the other side, and the knock came from inside the tree. And he said there was no holes in the tree, there was no way anything could have got in it. And that just that kind of blew my mind to hear that. And I've heard it a couple of times now, and I just see where Jay Cree just put it up where Les Stroud had experienced it. It's crazy. I mean, what could that be? A squirrel doesn't have the mass to knock on a live tree and create a sound like that. I've heard those knocks before. I don't know if it's the same ones, but I have heard the knocking on the trees, and it's loud. It echoes through the swamps. The ones that I heard did. I haven't heard a lot of them, probably maybe 10 times through the years. But they are definitely really, really loud. Cheryl says, look at the moon. Does it look red to you? Are you talking about now? I don't even know if the moon's even out. Here, whoa. I'm sorry. Who was that? What are you doing, Cupcake? It's too cloudy to see the moon here. Cheryl, I was looking for it. And good evening to you, Cheryl. I just realized I didn't say hey to you. I'm sorry. I am missing people. Guys, I'm old and blind and I think I'm going about senile too. Yeah, Sharon, there's people are seeing just crazy stuff. And you can type it in Google and it pulls up. It's not just on YouTube. They're posting it everywhere. You could find it on Facebook sometimes if you put it in the search. And they're seeing the Sasquatch beings. They're seeing these werewolves, the dogman creatures. They're seeing just bizarre stuff. And these things they call the mantis people, I think it is. It's supposed to be like a praying mantis the size of a human. That would freak me out. I would probably shoot at something like that. I don't think it would be able to hurt you if it's just a big bug. I don't think, but I don't want him on me. I like praying mantises. Actually, Rosie got in trouble when she was real little. She was 5 years old, I think, and she stomped on a praying mantis, and I got on to her about that. There is something that I've grown up with. The praying mantis is that's the one bug that you want inside of your bedroom, and the praying mantis is supposed to keep the dark figures, the demons, shadow people, whatever you call them things. The praying mantis is supposed to help with keeping them things away from you. Don says insectoid aliens, ant people. Yeah, they had I like listening to the Gaia TV, and there's a guy on there. I don't know if he's still on there now. Corey, I don't remember his last name, but he claimed that he had been off planet to I think Mars and some other places, and to study these different beings, like doing autopsies on these different type aliens. And he had talked about these ant people, and he said it's the same thing people call the praying mantis people, but they call them insectoids. And a 6 foot tall ant, that little bitty tiny ant, they wear me out, and I don't want to deal with one 6 foot tall. What are you doing, girl? I've got a baby laying on my foot. Every time I move, she crawls back on top of me. Pixies, fairies, and gremlins. Brother Connor. Corey Good. Yes, Michael. Absolutely. Corey Good. Yep. E.M. Tattles for Corey Good. And listening to that guy Corey, you may think that he's got some mental issues, but if you listen to him, he believes wholeheartedly that he's telling the truth. And guys, y'all may think I'm an oddball for saying this, but I believe him. I absolutely believe the man. I do believe that he has been where he claims to have been, and I do believe that he's witnessed the things that he says he has. I hope they stay wherever they're at. I don't want to deal with, I don't know, there's somewhat of a route for the Sasquatch beings. They're part of our forests. I don't know what role they play. At one time I thought I knew, and there's a lot of things happen to me out while in the woods that have changed my way of thinking on that. But I'm as much as I'm scared of the Sasquatch, I know that they're out there, and I'll still go in the woods and hunt. I have encountered them several times in one of the areas that we hunt, and Chris hasn't encountered them coming around us out there before, and I don't think he's seen one yet. But he was there when we had one come up behind us in the water. He's heard the growls. He had pine cones thrown at him. I think it was last year. He got hit with a pine cone, a green pine cone, and he had little bloody holes on him from the little points on it. And when Chris gets in a tree, he's 40 foot up the tree. He's really high. And it would take a professional ball player to be able to throw a pine cone as far as it flew to hit him that day he got hit. I don't know of anybody that could throw a golf ball that far. But there's a lot of things happening. And when you go in the woods, for me personally, I am absolutely afraid of Bigfoot. And I don't care the people that make fun of me for being afraid of them. I'm afraid of them. That's just the way it is. But I know they're out there. And so many times I've been out there and I felt them around me, but I didn't know what they were. I had no idea. I had not had an encounter up to that point. And I seen, them move between the trees, the flashes, and I knew it wasn't a bear because they were upright on 2 feet, but so fast you couldn't make them out. But it never really bothered me. Oh, thank you, Cheryl. It's so good to see you as well. Absolutely. It's so good to see everyone here. Oh, Brother Rick, you made it. Yes, indeed. But being in the woods with the Sasquatch, I don't know. I'm afraid of them, but I kind of expect them to be there. I know that they're there, and if I'm getting a lot of movement that's close to me, I pay attention. I keep, if I'm sitting in my hunting stand, I'm focused on it, and I try to pay attention to what's happening there. If I get growls starting, then I leave. I pack my things and I go home. I'll come back and hunt another day. And I won't hunt I'll hunt the same general area, but I'll hunt 400 or 500 yards further away from that spot. And it's worked for me. I've had no issues at all over there. I've had several close encounters with them. And I think that it's a game for them. None of them over in that spot have ever projected anger at me like they were mad at me, but it scares me really bad. And my eyes water. I'm not crying, but I get so scared. It's like I can't control my eyes, and they'll water. I have tears running down my face, and then I get to where I can't swallow, and it's hard to control my breathing, and I can hear my heartbeat pounding in my ear. And so I leave. I get out of there and go home. It's just not worth it. And yeah, Ruth said it terrifies the bejeebies out of her. Yes, amen. I'm right there with you. Amen. What a strange world. But we got people now that are these werewolf creatures. There's so many people seeing them. And Jeff and I ran into one really close last year. And when Jeff came down, It was the first time he had ever been out in the woods with me. And what he told me, and he mentioned it again the other day when I talked to him, with all the different groups, Jeff goes, he's a big man. He's very well versed in firearms. Uh, I'm an instructor and I am licensed through NRA for firearms as a firearms instructor. And Jeff knows far more than I do by a long shot. And you can throw any firearm in Jeff's hands and blindfold him and not tell him what it is, and he can tell you in seconds exactly what that firearm is. And he could probably tell you the caliber. But he would go as security for some groups that go out on these investigations. Jeff would go sort of security for them to keep the guys safe while they're doing their investigation. And he told me, he said, I've never seen anything out there. And he says, he said to me that first time I took him out in the woods, we walked right up on that thing. We seen that really huge Sasquatch stepped out, and that one was mad at us for sure. And then we had them coming all around us. It was a very scary night. It got dark on us back there, and we were trying to get out, and these things were coming all around us. And Jeff told me, he said, I've always believed in them, but I've never seen anything. And he said, you're a magnet for these things. The very first time I ever go into the woods with you, I see an enormous Sasquatch and I've seen a dog man within 30 minutes apart from one another. And he said, I am absolutely a believer. I've always believed they existed, but I've never seen one. And he said, we're in the woods a half hour and we've already running into stuff like that. And I don't know if they're drawn to me. I feel that they are. I don't know why. I've never asked for it. I don't talk to them. I don't want nothing to do with them. Bigfoot Mama, is that town near LBL? I guess. Oh, you're talking to Don. Oh, there he is. I'm sorry. I misread that. I thought it said Donnie. Oops, I didn't mean to butt in your conversation. Sorry. Yeah, thank you, Rick. Yep, absolutely. Trust your feelings, just as Rick Evans has said right there in the chat. Anytime you get a bad feeling, you can take it back to what even the ancient writings of the beginning of the Bible, the first writings. The Bible speaks about how we pray. When we are to pray from our heart, not from our soul or our spirit, but from our heart. Everything we do is from the heart. Now, when you get out in an area, something bad is going to happen or something good is going to happen to you without you knowing. You get a feeling within you. And it comes from your gut, which I believe is coming from your heart. And me personally, I believe that is how Holy Spirit talks to us. It's through our heart, through our gut. And when you're out there and you get a bad feeling in your gut, and for me, it's Holy Spirit telling me, leave, get out of here, turn around, you're going the wrong direction, and this is your final warning. And I've never went against it anytime I've gotten that feeling. There's been several times that I've pushed it. I get the feeling, but it's not strong. And I'll push on, but I'm high alert. I'm very cautious, and I'm just focused on everything around me. And if that feeling does not go away, or if it intensifies, I turn around. The last time that happened was recently. We went out to Torreya State Park, and going down the trail, the feeling that came over me was so intense. And then Kim said that she had a bad feeling, and that was all the verification I needed. And when we turned to leave, when I looked back, I thought it was a black man standing in the woods. He stepped out behind a tree. It wasn't big, just size of a normal person, but kind of thin. And he stepped out behind a tree, and like he was watching me. And 60 yards from me, 70 yards, pretty close. And it just, my eyes seen a black man in the woods with no shirt on, no clothes. I could see him from like the waist up, and he had nothing on. But something inside me told me that was way out of line. Get out of here. And we left. And I was kind of shoving Kim and Rosie. You know, I got a little aggravated. I said, go. You know, don't stop. Go. Move. I was scared. This thing was behind me, but I had to put myself between him, my daughter, and my wife. And it was a scary situation, but I got the warning from it before I seen him. And I do believe that was the Sasquatch. I believe that 100%. Hey, girl. She's looking for a baby. Her baby's a big baby now, but they sleep together. Yeah, Brother Don, get up with me. I would absolutely love to go to Korea with you. I went twice, and both times were this year, the same month. That is a beautiful area, but there are two spots in there. We walked maybe a mile total, and 2 different times a feeling came over me, and Kim verified it. Neither time I said anything to her, and she just said, you know, I don't feel right, is what the way she worded it. And I had the feeling, but I pushed on. I stayed in front of them, and I moved forward, and the feeling got stronger. The first time, it was really strange. It was almost as though someone were blowing a fan on me, of like a fan of bad feeling, bad gut feeling. And it felt like this feeling that was hitting me all of a sudden was turned and was pushed a different direction. I felt fine. And Kim, without me saying anything to her about it, she said that she just wasn't feeling right. Something felt off. And then seconds later, she said, you know, I feel all right now. Everything seems all right. And I witnessed it. I witnessed it firsthand. And it's so strange when you get those feelings. And I do believe that it's Holy Spirit telling our spirit, you know, you need to get out of there. Our body is our only vessel to carry us around in this physical realm. And if we tear it up by not listening to our computer system, you know, that's it. We don't get another one. I think I missed somebody on there. I'm sorry if I missed you. Oh, thank you, Gene. Thank you so much. Yes, Brother Gene says our God is the God who can and will do the impossible, and it's not over until God says it's over. Definiac Gene. Amen. I'm absolutely in agreement. Brother Pappy, I hope you're right. I believe everything you've ever told me, and I hope these beings feel that I'm a threat to them, the darker ones. I would love to know that I had the upper hand when I'm out there. I wouldn't dare push it. I wouldn't dare test it. But just to be, have that extra security to know that, you know, they're not going to lay hands on me or my family. That would, I don't know what I would do if something happened to Kim or Rosie. I'd be in jail for arson. I know that for sure. I'd burn the woods down. Where are we at? Yeah, Connor says the Tria Challenge. Connor, that's exactly where we were at. Both times we got the feeling. The first time we were about 50 feet from the sign where it says you are entering the Tria Challenge. We just crossed the bridge and we were coming up on it. That was the first time we got the feeling. The second time we were probably a half mile into the challenge, and we turned and went back out, and we never finished it. The feeling was so intense. And then I seen him when he stepped out behind that tree, and he just watched us. There wasn't no bad expression on the face. There was nothing negative about him at all. But just seeing him, I got the feeling visually, I thought I was looking at a black man with his shirt off. And mentally or spiritually, I had a very sickening feeling in my gut that something was not right. Nobody is going to be out in the woods, especially without a shirt on. The mosquitoes out there and the ticks were insane. That was the most ticks I've ever had on me in one day, was at Taria. When we got to the car, I pulled 11 off of my legs right at the car. And total, it was 30 something ticks that I pulled off of me before we even left the parking lot. It was bad. Never seen them like that. And it's because I don't use bug spray unless I absolutely have to. That stuff does horrible things to your insides. And Dennis said he believes they're attracted to true believers. I didn't always think that way, but the more you look into, the more it seems that it happens that way. Yeah, I'm right there with you, Dennis. Absolutely, I am. I haven't talked to many people at all the last few months with encounters. We've had so much going on, and it just kind of went quiet. I think most people are sending their encounters over to Steve on how to hunt, and I'm glad he gets them out. He has a really big platform going now, and that's a wonderful thing to get them out there, get them out to the public. Don says, how far would you say that spot is from the plantation house at Taria? The spot where I seen him, as the crow flies, I would say it's 3/4 of a mile, maybe 1 mile. It's not that far. You got to go, you pull out of the plantation house like you're headed back to the gate, and there's a parking lot up there on the left. And as soon as you turn into that parking lot, you park, you have to go to the right. As soon as you turn in, if you look, there's a sand trail that goes off to the right. You got to follow that down, and that takes you to the trail. And the first trail is like a beginner's trail, but you follow it down and you'll come to a spot. There's a sign on the left, and it says Taria Park Challenge, or the Taria Challenge. And the little trail goes up by that sign. It goes uphill, fairly steep, and it's probably 500 yards down that trail is where I seen him at. There's another little bridge down there, and I got the feeling about 50 yards before we got to the bridge. And so I had Kim and Rosie stand there, and then I walked ahead a little bit to see if the feeling would ease up. And I walked where I could see the bridge. It was just down from me, and the feeling was just as strong as it was when I first felt it. So I turned around, and when we went back, I got to them. They turned and started walking back out, and I was following up behind them. And I would stop and scan that left side of me, because that's where I could feel like pressure coming from that way, like eyes on me. And the second or third time that I stopped, when I was looking over there, that's when he stepped out behind the tree, and I moved up, and Kim and Rosie had stopped right there in front of me. And I turned to take off, and I couldn't really go nowhere because they were right there. And I was telling them, go, y'all move, get going. And I didn't want to tell her that what I seen right there. I told her once we left, but I didn't want to tell her in there and have them panic and her step off the side of the trail and fall down that hill or something. I just didn't want anything to go wrong because she got scared. Yeah, Rick, that's definitely a place to avoid, especially if you go in there alone. I just see where Don says I wouldn't want to be alone. Yeah, it was me, Kim, and Rosie, and our intention was just to go and walk the trail out, just have a good day away from home and get away from everything. And That's I walked the other trail at the plantation house. If you walk around the house to the back, there's a trail on your left, and if you follow it down, it's about a mile walk, and it brings you down directly behind the house, all the way down at the water's edge, the river's edge. And then you'll come back on the right side of the house. And that's where they got the old batteries when they had the Civil War. And the batteries are still there. And they had them where they had the cannons mounted. And it's awesome to see that history right there. And that was the first one that I done, was that one. I did it by myself. And I got a bad feeling in two places in there. The first one, as soon as I went down the trail, I wasn't 100 foot down the trail. The second time, I was almost, I was probably 200 yards from the exit of the trail, and I got that overwhelming stench, that nasty body odor smell, hit me down there, and I got real cautious. It wasn't the same as what I've smelled before when I have the few times that these big guys, I don't think all of them stink, but I have smelled it a few times where it's pretty rancid. And I got the same smell there. It wasn't quite as powerful, but it was nasty. And I wasn't sure if it was a bear or what it was. And so I was real careful not to step on anything, any leaves. And I continued. I was too close to the exit to turn around and go all the way back and have to travel 3/4 of a mile to get out. And so I continued forward. When I got up the hill, there's a ravine that goes back toward where I was at when I smelled him, and I got that bad feeling. And there's like a cliff at the end of it, and I'm looking at the face of the cliff where I was at, probably 70 yards from me. And there's a group of big, huge palmettos and some type of palm tree, and all the leaves are kind of like hanging over like a big umbrella. And there was a large black figure underneath those leaves. And zooming in on it, I could see it was fur, it was hair, black, shiny hair. And you could see the striations of the hair. Like you can see in my beard, the way the lines, the vertical lines, I could see him going sideways in it. And it was moving. I think it was probably a bear. I don't know for sure. It never came out to where I can get a clear look at it. But once I recognized that it was a living animal and it was moving, I got out of there. And I ended up, when I got back up to the bike, a park ranger come in because they were closing. And I talked to him and I asked him, I said, have you heard any reports here? He'd been there a long time. And I said, have you heard of anything people have seen here, anything bizarre? And he says, you mean Bigfoot? And I said, well, yeah. He said, well, I've heard some stories, but me personally, I've never seen anything, and I don't know if they're true. And so I said, have you heard anything or been in an area where you got a really weird feeling that you were being watched and heard some strange sounds? He said, oh yeah, that's happened a bunch. There's a few areas in here I don't like being in, but I have to because it's my job. But as far as up to that point, he's never seen anything. He's never witnessed nothing. Oh, there's Seven Pearls. So good to see Seven Pearls. Yeah, she's the one I need taking the woods with me. She's a firecracker, that's for certain. Yeah. Oh, wow. I'm trying to catch up, guys. I got behind on the comments. I always do. Yeah, Don, we're anytime we go out in the woods, if you end up this direction and you want to take a trip to Torreya State Park, definitely let me know. and I'll get up with Brother Connor and see if he's free to go out there with us. And I am armed anywhere that I go, and it's not so much for what's in the woods, it's because of how people are now. The world has gone crazy. We're in that time, right before the end, and there's a lot of bad people, and I definitely don't want to have to deal with that. Pork and beans, it's good to see you. I love me some pork and beans. Did I miss one? Wow, see, Southern Grits talking about the doc her ex-husband had at a fish camp. Oh, in Ocala. I've heard so many people talking about having encounters in Ocala. I heard two people the same week were telling me about Ocala. You hear the screams at night when them things are screaming, and it was two separate people, unrelated. Yet the dangerous creatures of today's world, most of them are people. Unfortunately, there's a lot of really bad people out in the world. But I think their days are numbered. What are you doing, bud? He's finally moved where I can move my leg. Um, CD Squatcher. Who is that? I haven't heard of her. Yep, pearls is right on the money. Pray aforehand. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, Francisco, this world has gone nuts. And I never thought I would live to see a day where everything now is based on color. Everything is absolutely ridiculous. And you've got to have one nasty mind to think anybody that says something different than what you agree with, to think they're racist for disagreeing with you. That is absolutely, it's horrible. People that claim that, there should be a way you can press charges on them like you can for defamation, and whatever that other charge is. If you write bad stuff about someone, defamation is where you say bad things about someone that could hurt who they are. But if you write bad things about somebody, like in a Facebook post or on YouTube, there's also a charge for that. You can be charged, and you can be in a lot of trouble for it. They need to do the same thing for all these people that are calling others racist because they happen to not agree on something. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life. I was called a racist. If you guys remember when we were selling the watermelons, I had a guy pull up in the front, and we sold all but two of them watermelons. They went so fast. And a young man pulled up, Caucasian fellow, white guy. I mean, white as a ghost. Probably 25 years old, if I were to guess. And he walks up the driveway, and I had some melons in a big wagon right there. And as he was coming up, I told him, I said, if you want the big melons, they're over here at the other table. We got some huge ones over there, and they're all the same price. And he said, no, I ain't buying no watermelons from a racist. And it kind of threw me off guard, and I thought he was joking, so I just kind of laughed. He said, it ain't funny. I don't do business from anybody who's racist. And so I asked him, I said, well, who's racist? He said, you are. And there's a Confederate flag at the front of our yard on the south side. And what it is, there's a group in this area, and it's called the the sons of the Confederate, or sons of the Confederate veterans, and they honor the families who have had their ancestors fight in the Confederate War, the soldiers of the Confederacy. And they contacted me and they asked me to join, and I'm not joining that. It's not that I'm against it, I'm not, but I'm just not affiliated with any type of group like that. Any type of any group, not just that one, but I'm not affiliated with a group of researchers on Google, or I'm not affiliated with any goat groups. I'm just not affiliated with anything. And I told him, I said, look, that's not a racist flag. Why don't you go and study your history, your true history, and then come back and we'll talk. And he was on, then he started threatening me, and he looked at Rosie and he said, you need to be very careful. Your pappy is a racist idiot. And that got under my skin. And I told him, I said, you need to be very careful what you say to her. And then he jumped up and said, well, what are you going to do about it? I'm waiting. Why don't you come and do something? And I almost stepped over that line where there's no coming back from it. I got so mad. And one of the people there that came up, a very nice gentleman, he grabbed me by the arm and he said, look, he's obviously very uneducated. Let him go. And I said, you're right. And he yelled at me, well, you're not going to sell no effing watermelons because people don't like racists. And I just waved at him and he took off. And we sold all of them. But anyhow, it burned me up for him to do that. And the people, the Sons of the Confederate Veterans, it's scv.org is their website. I have not went to it yet, but they talked to me and asked me if I wanted to join. I went down to a couple of the meetings to see what they were talking about, and it's just about the history of the beginning of the country. That's all it is, about the history of the Confederate side of the war. And well, they asked me if I want to join, and I told them, I said, I don't have any family that was in the war. And he said, well, I'm sure if you got any ancestors at all, you've got relatives in the war. And I told him, I said, I don't. My biological parents were Native American. I don't have it. And well, he wanted to do the research, and I give him all my information. And a friend of mine that's doing that, I told him, I said, I'm not going to pay $75 to join it. I understand it supports your cause, but if it were free, I wouldn't join it. It's just not something that I do. I'm not involved with any groups of any type. And he said, I understand. It's no problem. But then the man calls me back after about 3 or 4 months, and he says, well, you can be what's called a friend of the SCVA. And I said, well, why is that? And he said, I can't find you anywhere in the system. And I told him, I said, my biological parents were Native American. My mother is Cherokee and my father was Choctaw. And he said, well, yeah, they probably wouldn't have been in the war. And I told him, I said, no, they weren't. They were fighting for their own land. But anyhow, that's what it turned out. So if you guys see the Confederate flag in the front of my yard, no, it is not a racist flag. No, I am not racist. I have a severe dislike for a group of people, and it has nothing to do with their color. It has to do with their mindset. And like that young man that came up starting that mess, I do not like people like that. Anybody that just goes out and attacks other folks, they're just not worthy for me to call them one of my friends. I'm not up for all of that. If you can't love one another, you're going to have a bad time in the end. When we stand before our Creator and you find out that our soul on every human on this planet is the same color, things are going to change for a lot of people that are believing one race is superior over another. That's the most ridiculous thing that's ever been said. But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get off on that tangent. It just that was the first time in several years that I actually got angry, and I almost messed up. And I'm glad I didn't. If I'd have got my hand on that feller, I would have been in trouble, and it wouldn't have been good. We got too much that went against us these last few weeks, and thank God for the good man that was here that told me to let him go. He's ignorant, just let him go on and enjoy his life. Evidently, he's not a very happy man to be attacking somebody that he doesn't know. Yeah, Flat Rock Booger said it the way it is. A flag is a flag, just like our Christian flag. Absolutely. And I don't know how somebody can turn something around and make everything bad. Everything nowadays is bad. You know, if you change medication because you can't afford the one that you're on, and so you change to an equivalent, a cheaper equivalent, somebody's going to call you a racist. You didn't do it because somebody involved with making that other medication happened to be the color that you like best. I reckon. I don't know. Some of these goats we got, I think they're racist. We got a couple of them. We got one little old bitty feller, and he's black and white, gray. He's got like a silver white markings on him, and he does not like the other black goats. And I don't understand it. I don't think he realizes he's black. But he's so little, he starts fighting, and they beat him up, and he has to go hide. What are you doing, buddy? Don't stick your nose up my pants. All right, it's okay. Hey, Goomba, you guys remember the big red one we got, the big horns? Goomba is huge. He loves to lick the salt off your skin, and I'm wearing shorts. And because my legs are fat, I wear shorts that have huge legs in them. And he's got his nose, the back of my knee, and he's worked it up my pants leg to the bottom of my boxers, so I got to stop him. It's all right, buddy. Here, you want some water? Goomba, you want that? Here, buddy. Now he's licking the bottom of my water bottle, getting the condensation off of it. Okay, you can't have the top of it. Jay Cree says the poor little fella is confused. Hey, Rita. Yeah, Rita says even her flag in UK is considered racist. You know, what has our world gone to? We're supposed to get smarter as time goes on. We as a race, a human race, not a colored race, but as a human race, from the beginning of time, we've increased our intelligence as time goes on. Something's happened these last few years, and we have went backwards, quite a ways backwards. And it is horrible. And the worst of it, like all this racist mess, the part that gets me the most, and it doesn't anger me, but I feel embarrassed for these people. And that's these white people that dislike the other races. They don't like the black skin. They don't like the brown skin. They don't like the yellow skin. They don't like the red skin. They believe the white skin is the ultimate race. But yet, they're Baptists. The majority of the clan is Baptist. I wrote a paper on them when I was in high school for a report we had to do on the race hatred nonsense. Well, the more I dug into it, the clan dislikes all other races that are not white. They believe white is the ultimate race. But yet, they're supposedly Christian, they're Baptist, and they pray and worship to the Father of Yeshua, Jesus. And I don't think they realize Jesus was not white. He was very dark skinned. And I think those people are going to have a rough time, day of judgment, when they see who our Lord and Savior is, when they see who our Creator is, I don't think it's going to work out real good for them. I hope they change their ways before then. I really do. We don't need to lose anybody to the dark one, but the way this world's going, we're losing a lot of them. Yeah, yeah, Flat Rock is Native Creek. Yeah, girl I dated for many, many years. Back when I was I think I was 20, 19 or 20. Her mother was Blackfoot and her father was Creek. And she was the meanest gal I ever come across. She was all right unless she'd open a beer and get one sip of beer in her system, and she was the definition of instant idiot, just that alcohol. That was her. She got mad at me because I was 5 minutes late picking her up from work one night. And so she started drinking in the parking lot waiting on me. I was there, but I was at the red light. She worked at a Miracle Strip amusement park, and I couldn't get in there because of all the people trying to get into the park. And I could see where the gate was, I couldn't see her. She was probably 300 yards away, but I could see the gate. I just couldn't get to it because of traffic. When I when I got up there, she done had her about half a beer, and she come running out and started punching my windshield, trying to bust my windshield out for me. And so we left there, and instead of taking her home, I had to take her to Bay Medical Center so she can get a cast put on her broken hand. And she blamed me all the way home. And then the next day, it was like nothing ever happened. But that's just the way she was. And her dad, who was the Creek, he was mean as a rattlesnake with rabies. And she was just like him. And smart, scary smart. Yeah, Francesca, we definitely got a real cast of characters around here. Absolutely. And with the way the world's going, we have a duty to vote for who we think should be in office. And I do not have any problems with those who don't vote. First time I ever voted was 3 years ago. I never voted in my life. And I felt in my spirit that I needed to vote. But anyhow, where we're at now is the political parties that are pushing this racist call on everything. It's horrible. These people are supposed to be our leaders, or they're supposed to bring us, to whatever glory this country is going to step into next. And they're not. They're breaking everything down. They're turning everybody against one another. And I have no problem with groups of people coming together to stand up for what they believe in. That's the way it should be everywhere. You should have the right to do that. I don't agree with what is that group? Oh, doggone it. I don't even remember the name of the group now. The black group that's going on, Black Lives Matter group. They've done a lot of crazy stuff, in my opinion, and I don't agree with everything that they're doing. And I actually met a man that was part of the first few people that actually started that group. I met him here in Panama City, and he walked away from it because of what it's turned into. And I'll tell you, that's one of the greatest men I ever met. Young guy, probably 30 years old. And in his spirit and talking to him, you would think he was in his 70s. He was so far above me. His personality he was built of gold. And he was part in starting up that Black Lives Matter, and somehow it got turned and he walked away from it. But just an amazingly intelligent man. And we actually, Kim and I invited him to come up here. We telling him about the goats. We had one of the little ones with us, and he fell in love with him. And we invited him to come up, and he's supposed to bring his little girl, and they're going to come up where she can see the goats. Yep, Sharon says, I'm white, my life matters. Yep, everybody in this chat, we all matter. We have a place here. God put us here for a purpose. Some of us will never know what the purpose is, and I think I'm one of them. I may not never understand what my purpose is, but I was built in my creator's mind. He made me the way he wanted me to look. He made me the way he wanted me to be. And I've taken a lot of wrong turns in life, and I banged myself up. I've knocked half my teeth out, and I still ain't got those fixed. Our dog we rescued broke my bottom jaw, and I lost my front teeth right there in the front. And I don't like showing it. It is embarrassing, but it is what it is. I just can't afford to fix it right now. I will one day. Hey, going, but no, you can't have that, buddy. That's a tablet. But we all have a purpose, and whatever color you are, whatever creed you are, whatever your religion is, it was all destined. What are you doing, buddy? It was all destined from the beginning. I got Goombas right here, and was trying to lick the tablet. I don't know if you guys can see him. I know, buddy. It's all right. He's been licking on me this whole time. He's licking the sweat off of me. He's a good boy, though. Yeah, Michael says George Soros' color revolution designed to destroy modern civilizations and usher in communism. And that may sound odd to some people, but I believe that is part of what's happening. That's a lot of it. I've never heard it before, but it makes sense with what's happening. This is such a strange. We live in a bad time, and we cannot be a part of what's going on around us. We need to be the light, that beacon above all of that. There's a lot of good people that are lost right now, and they fell victim to this nastiness that's going on around us. And as children of the Most High God, it is our duty to try to bring these people back. And if you meet somebody that's trying to stir up an argument with you, if you can talk to them, try to talk to them. Talk a little sense into them. If it gets to the point that it gets overwhelming and there is no talking to them, they're set in what they want to project to you, walk away from them. Pray for them, ask God to forgive them, and move on. And they'll either get it right or they're going to have some pretty rough consequences. And certainly don't want to be in no one's shoes like that. Don, thank you so much, brother. Yeah, God absolutely gave me Piglet to care for, and she was one of the greatest things that's ever happened to me. And I'll definitely see her again. Buddy, he won't stop licking me. I don't know if y'all can hear him. That's his tongue flapping, that noise in the background. Not my legs, bud. All right. Mark Daniel. I didn't even see you in the chat. Brother, I'm sorry if I missed you. I certainly didn't see you in there. Yep, it's absolutely, Mark said it right there. I mean, that's it. There's no other way to word it. We were born for this time. Stand strong. Amen, brother. Amen. God said in the beginning he would never give us more than what we could handle. The excess, the overburdening excess, that's what he's there for. His hands are much larger than ours. And all he wants is to hear from us. Pray to him. Father, help me. It's a little more than I can handle. And he'll take that extra load off of us. And right now we're at a time that, we're going to need it. The world's against us. And we probably got every race on this planet as part of our family here on Standing Goats Rescue. I'm quite sure of that. And we are one family. And the love I have for Flat Rock Booger is the same I have for all the rest of you. We're all one. And I would give everything that I had to help or save any one of you. And I don't care what you look like. I don't care where you're from. It doesn't matter. I don't care what your history is. Um, my history is some of the darkest of anyone that I know. I've done some horrible things. But in 2012, God gave me a second chance and He saved me. And it took me almost a year to learn and accept that He forgave me. And I don't owe anyone an apology. I owe Him nothing. My Father took that load off of me. And I walk free. My pockets are empty. And it'll stay that way. And if He'll save me, He'll do it for absolutely anybody. We have a good Father that loves us, and we have a good family right here. And everyone here, part of this, and who's here right now, we all love one another. We are one. And if the rest of the world will wake up and realize just how wonderful the person is that they just passed on the sidewalk or at the grocery store and give them that opportunity, the world would change in an instant. Yep, Seven Pearls has got it right on the money. We are all human first. Absolutely. And when the sun goes dark, do you think you're going to be able to hate on somebody for being a different color? You think you're going to recognize what color they are? It ain't going to happen. We're all the same color when the skin comes off. I assure you that. Oh, I just seen Pappy. I've got to put that up. Pappy Two Bears is one of the wisest men I've ever met in my life. And that's the honest truth. And what he says here, we are all part of the greatest story ever told. And we each have our part to play in it. No part is more important than another. And we collectively are the story of Creator's great love. It cannot be told any straighter and to the point than that. Brother Pappy, thank you so much. God bless you. That is, I wish I had that on a t-shirt. I would wear it until the colors faded out of it. The world needs to hear words like that. Yep, Seven Pearls says we cry and we laugh, and we do. You know, we share heartache and we share happiness and glory. We share it all together. And you don't have to know somebody to feel what they're going through or to experience it or to help them. You know, we're all in it together, and that's all there is to it. We were taken. There were two people in the beginning, and that was it. We're all part of those two people. So there is no way possible that we are all not joined together by DNA. There's no way possible we are not all related. We're all brothers and sisters to the Most High God, and that's all there is to it. Some of us have just got a better paint job than others. That's all there is to it. That's one reason I avoid the sun. If you see me today at the beach, I wear that big hat. If I spend 2 days in the sun, I literally turn black. I look like a black person with messed up hair. And I get super, super dark, and I just, it doesn't turn. I've always got an orange tint, and I'll turn very dark brown, but I've got this orange tint to me, and I don't like it. I don't like looking that way. And right now, even wearing the sun stuff to keep the sun off of me, I stay orange. It's really weird, goofy looking orange. But it's part of the Crayola family. We are all part of that big box. Badger State. It's good to see you. Did I miss somebody? I think I did. I hope not. Yep, absolutely. I'm going to put this up. Our sister Denise, you guys please add Denise to your prayers. Says she needs to find a place to live in the next couple of weeks. Please, I would appreciate prayers to help me get a place that I can afford and call home. Guys, please, let's come together tonight and get prayers out for all these people. And our sister Denise, you know, she's been a part of us for a while, and she's a strong part to who we are. Let's get some words out to the Father and get that letter written and sent to him so that she can find a home, a true home, not somebody else's house that she's taken over, but a place that she can call her own. That is so important. You know, that's our sanctuary, and our physical life is our home. And without that, life can be pretty nasty. It's a hard ride. We will absolutely be praying for you. Me and my family here will be praying for you. And we've got an amazing family right here in the chat right now. This is some of the greatest people that's ever walked this planet. Hey, buddy, get out of my pocket. You can't have that. No, get your nose out. Let me see. You can't have that. Goomba stuck his nose in my pocket. I got paper towels in my pocket because to get the rain as it drips on my screen here to wipe it off, and he found it. He's trying to eat my paper towels. Hold on, buddy. Why are you still awake? You need to go lay down. That was not me that burped. If y'all heard that, was him. I promise you that was him. I know, buddy. Ow. Yeah, we all bleed human blood. That's the absolute truth. I've bled just about too much of it. Hope I don't lose no more. Not this year. Denise, if you can send me an email, I probably won't reply to it tonight. I'm quite tired. I'll be going to bed as soon as I close this out. But my sister, Tina LaMonica, she does real estate here. I don't know where you're looking. She's working on getting her license where she can cover more areas. And I don't know which direction she's going with that. But she is a true woman of God. And she would not deceive you in any way. And I would bet the lives of my entire family on that. Tina's one of the greatest people that I know, period. She's 2 years younger than I am, but that's what she does is real estate. But she knows if she can't find you something, if you're not looking in this area or an area that she can cover, she may be able to help you connect with someone who can help you out in a good way. Quit, buddy. You can't have that. Now he's trying to eat my watch. Stop. Yeah, if you would, I got my email. I think it's on this. Yeah, it's still on the screen. standinggoatsrescue@yahoo.com. And we'll talk about it. And if there's, let's see, we're Ontario, Canada. I might know somebody that may be able to help you up there. We got one of our brothers from the channel. He doesn't get on very often. He works a lot, but he lives in Canada, and he's an amazing man. And he might know something. I can't promise anything, but I can absolutely contact him and get him to put his feelers out for you. I would love to be up in Canada. I don't know about the winters. Y'all have got to be some extremely tough people to deal with that kind of cold. When it gets freezing here, I'm okay, but when it gets down in the 20s, that wraps me up pretty quick. Thank you, Brother Pappy. Thank you. Yeah, Pappy, he put the email up. I think I put it in the description too. If any of you need to reach me, the email is the easiest way. I don't check it as regular as I normally do. These last couple of weeks, I've been doing everything I can to keep my mind elsewhere. And especially since last Friday when we lost Piglet, it's hit me emotionally pretty hard. And I've just kind of haven't been on YouTube, haven't been watching TV. I've just been sitting on the couch staring off into nothing land, waiting on the rain to pass so I can get in the woods to where I can walk around and get my thoughts straightened out. But I'm working on getting back to normal and getting to pushing these things out and getting back in the woods. I can't stay in this slump. So it's coming together. Oh, thank you, Brother Pappy. Thank you so much. And I wanted to let y'all know we had a few of our brothers and sisters from our family here have jumped in with prayers, and they jumped in with monetary support to help us get through losing Piglet and what we've gone through with my father-in-law, and helping us to get Piglet's cremation done. I had it approved, and I talked to Brother Mike, and I told him, because when he contacted me, he wanted to help us with covering it. And I told him, I said, I hope it didn't sound that way in the video where I was expressing or telling you guys when I did the video from the shooting house at the lease, and I mentioned Piglet passing away and having to do the cremation. And I had mentioned that it was $275. And at the time, it didn't dawn on me that it may appear to some people that I was hinting for people to help. And I was not doing that. The reason, I don't hide nothing from you guys at all. I hide absolutely nothing. I don't have a private life that's so private that I can't share it with my extended family. I am a very different man. I promise you, you'll never meet another man like me. We all should be very different. And the way that I function is not like the friends that I've had here in Panama City, Southport, Chipley area. Most of the guys here are kind of in like a clique. They all operate the same, and I've never been part of that. But what I was doing in that, the Peaceful Pets, the ones that are doing the cremation for me for Piglet, I was sharing their information and the cost, and the reason it was so high. It's $275. And the reason I've done that was not to ask for help, but to let you guys know the reason they charge so much is because they do one pet at a time. So the ashes you get back is only your pet. You're not getting the ashes from everybody else's pets too. You are getting only your baby, nobody else's. And when they pay the crematorium to use the kiln, the oven, to cremate these beloved animals, they pay to use the oven. If they put 10 pets in the oven at one time, they pay the exact same price if they only put one pet in the oven. Well, Peaceful Pets, they charge more because they pay per use of the oven, and they only do one pet at a time, so that the owner gets their beloved pet back. They don't get their pet mixed with everybody else's. They get their animal back, the ashes of their animal. And Piglet will be returned to us in a red cedar box, and there will be a little brass nameplate. It'll have her name on it, her birthday, and her date of passing. And that is $275. And I shared that with you guys because a lot of you are just like Kim and I are. We're not wealthy by any means. We struggle to make ends meet, but God always provides a way for us to get through. And a lot of the passage he's given us has been help from you guys. But with this cremation, I asked Stoney, the man, him and his wife own it. I asked him, I said, look, I can't pay for it from one account because I don't have it. I've been working to try to pay my credit cards off. Can I pay it on multiple credit cards? 100 from one card, 100 from another, and 75 from another. And he said yes. And I was so grateful for that, because that was the only way we could pay for it, because I only get one check a month and it comes on the 3rd. And I'm going to get her back before then. But it opens up so many more possibilities for those who are like us and are struggling, and those that are in worse financial shape. They have a pet they love dearly. They lose that animal, and they want to get their baby cremated. Well, Peaceful Pets will allow you to pay in multiple different ways. You don't have to come up with a check for $275 or the cash. You can pay through multiple means, and that's the reason I was sharing that, because I know it's going to help some of you that have also lost babies if you're close within this area. But Brother Mike told me that he looked it up, and there's another Peaceful Pets up. I think he said Tennessee or Kentucky, and I think this one, I believe they came here from North Carolina, if I remember correctly what he told me. But that's the reason that that I shared the price on it. It was not to ask for help, but some of you have helped. A lot of you have helped. Y'all have been sending prayers and just some of the kindest words I've ever received from anybody. And you guys have written me, and I am so grateful for that. It hits you emotionally, but in a good way, to truly know how much you're loved by people that you've never met in person. And I witnessed that this week from you all, and I can't thank you enough. It's just been such a tremendous help in me getting myself out of this slump that I've been in. I mean, it really hit me hard losing Piglet, and I still struggle with it every day, and it's kind of choking me up a little bit right now. But she was a large part of my world, and I'd give anything to have her another a year, 2 years. I'd keep her for as long as the Lord let me stay here. But her time was up. 16 years is a long time for a dog to live, especially a big dog. And that breed, the average lifespan is 7 to 9 years on the Staffordshire Bull Terriers. It's not very long. And she's the last one out of a litter of 10. And all her siblings and all of their offspring have passed away already. She is the very last one of that bloodline. And she finally left, and it's rough, but there's a lot of light ahead, and it's going to be a great day. It's just getting there one step at a time, and we'll get there. I have a lot of love for all of our animals. There's not one animal on this property that I don't love. And, that's when I hunt. I do hunt. I do harvest animals to feed my family. But when I harvest an animal hunting, I don't shoot the first animal that comes into view because that animal's legal. I really examine it. Is that animal young? Is it like doe? During archery, you could shoot does. I would rather have does for meat. It's just a better quality meat. But is that doe pregnant? Is she nursing? Does she have a baby? Is she young? There's a lot you got to check. You just don't shoot an animal because it's a legal animal. You got to use ethics with it. And I do that. And when I harvest an animal, I get on my knees. I don't care if it's in the mud. I don't care where I'm at. Wherever that animal lays, I get on my knees. I lay hands on that animal, and I pray over that animal. I give thanks to the Creator for blessing us with that animal, and I give thanks to that animal. And I always close the prayer out and ask the Father if He's going to return that animal back to earth to go another round. I always close out by asking Him to send that animal somewhere that they'll never encounter another human. And it's just something I've always done. And I don't like killing an animal. We do eat the animals that we harvest while we're hunting, but it does bother me to shoot them. And it's just the way that it is. I'm not like the other hunters. I have a big wild ram head mounted on the wall in there. I didn't harvest that. My daughter did when she was 15, and she was an 1/8 inch off from hitting the all-time record for 15-year-olds with the Corsican ram. I've got 2 wild pigs that are mounted in there, My youngest daughter shot one when she was 6 years old, and it weighed 200 pounds. And my next oldest shot one when she was 8 years old, and it was 205 pounds. And I had them mounted. It was their first animal they ever harvested. I shot one big buck in my entire life. I've harvested a lot of deer, but I've only got one big one, and I absolutely had it mounted because I wanted one deer mounted that I could pass down to my grandchildren. And when they're older, they could show their grandkids that was my granddaddy's first big deer he ever harvested. And that's the only one I got mounted. And if I shoot one twice as big, I'm not mounting him. I'm not hunting the horns. Um, I'm hunting the animal that I know is right for me. And if I get a bad feeling about it, I'm not harvesting that animal. Holy Spirit will let you know which one you're supposed to take. He's denied me many times. And if I get that denial in my gut, I will not harvest the animal. I don't care if I've harvested anything at all the entire season. I will not take the shot if I feel in my spirit I'm not supposed to. But anyhow, I didn't mean to jump all over the place. The whole point of this, I just want to thank you all for the tremendous support, the prayers, the love you guys and gals have showed me and my family, and the patience for waiting on us. I apologize for being away for so long. It's been really hard to try to get a show going, and I attempted it several times this week, and trying to build it up, my gut would start churning and my eyes would start welling up, and I knew I couldn't do it. And just the thought of Piglet and knowing she wasn't there is still a bit overwhelming to me. But I try to avoid it. And while I'm here, I don't want to come on the show and break down and start crying in front of everyone, because those emotions are contagious. And when you're sad in front of others, especially those that care for you, that sorrow jumps onto them, and now they're in a glory or a gloomy mood, and that's the last thing I want. I want to come on here and share glory that God's put on my heart, to where that would be contagious and you guys would be uplifted. There's Brother Kyle. I was absolutely so good to see Kyle. You guys remember Kyle Maynard, his mother Carol. We done some prayer requests for her, and she finally got to go home and be with the Lord. Kyle's an amazing man. If you don't know him, you guys take the time to get to know him. He's a phenomenal human. I talk to Kyle quite often. He checks in on me a lot, and I'm so appreciative. What a great friend he is. Oh wow! I just happened to see that, Dennis. I'm sorry, brother. It says seems like everyone is being tested lately. I was bitten by a wolf spider 3 weeks ago. And then something happened to my stove that filled the house with carbon monoxide this past Monday. Holy mackerel. I'm sorry, brother. That's rough. When things like that start happening, if you'll pay attention at what you've been doing, you'll realize that you've been doing something very right. When we start doing good and doing the work that God has put us here to do, the dark one's going to jump in, and he's going to start throwing stones in our path to try to trip us up. He's going to do a lot to cause us to falter, and to get at that point where we're angry and we're upset. We start cursing and just blowing out. And the whole purpose of that is to win you over. So just take it and grin and try to move forward and pray for those who've come against you. And I know sometimes people come against you, it gets physical. Don't stand there and take it. You were not meant to be a barter, to be beat on. God gave us the right to defend ourselves. If somebody's there to take your life, you do what's necessary to defend your life. Our work is not done, but it will be eventually, and we all get to go home. Oh, thank you, Mark. Thank you so much, brother. Absolutely. Brother Mark, yes, he had to go to bed. Island Girl, I didn't see you in there. I'm sorry. Yep, absolutely. Piglet's definitely not in pain now. That is a blessing. The last 2 days is when she started hurting, and that was so rough to see her whining in pain, trying to stand up. And then the last day I had to hold her because she kept falling over. She couldn't hold herself. And it was so hard. She lost a lot of weight from the cancer, and she hadn't eaten in a long time. And with all the weight gone, she was a little over 80 pounds, but it's my back's bad, and that is so much weight for me to have to handle. But I did it. It's what she needed to be able to stand and relieve herself. And I gritted my teeth, and whatever she needed, we made sure she got it. Yeah, brother Kyle, thank you. Thank you so much. We are absolutely, we've got a lot of things that we're going to be doing, a lot of places that I want to go and visit. Two of them are places I've been to and I've filmed, and I've had activity in those areas. But I'm going to go and revisit them again. I'm not going to the same exact location where I had the activity, but it's the same area. It's a state-owned area, and I don't remember how many thousand acres it is, but I'm going on the opposite. Instead of on the south side where I've had all the activity, I'm going to go on the north side of that property. It's just, there's a lot of evidence that I find when I'm out there. A lot of trees snapped off and bent over. You'll find a lot of areas where they got all these dead tree limbs stacked up like a teepee. They'll find one living tree and they'll stack all these dead trees up around it. It looks like a teepee if you were to stretch a tarp over it. Excuse me. Oh wow. Flat Rock said the last 3 years he's been tested and will overcome them all, from death, cancer, losing my house in hurricane, death of my niece last Wednesday, to what lives on the property. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I did not know. You guys, while you're praying for our family here, our brother Flat Rock Booger, add him to your prayers. I did not know he lost his niece last Wednesday. And it's so hard losing family members. It's hard losing anybody, even though we will see them again. The only thing that makes it easier for me when we lose a family member, for me personally, is where the Bible tells us that a day in heaven is 1,000 years on earth. If you break that down, if you look at what they're saying there, if your grandfather died 100 years ago, he hasn't even been in heaven a day yet. He's only been there a couple of hours. If you live another 100 years and then you pass on, when you get to heaven, you're going to arrive at heaven the exact same day that your grandfather did 200 years ago. Because a day in heaven is 1,000 years on earth. So when I get there, I'm going to arrive the same day that my son arrived, the same day that my mother and father and my grandparents and all of my ancestors. I'm going to get there the same day that they do. And that is an awesome thought. That I love. Yep, absolutely, Brother Pappy. Certainly can't say it no clearer than that. It is our spiritual roots planted deep in the ground of our faith that keeps our trunk strong and our branches growing to provide shade and shelter for those running from the storms of life. Absolutely. Absolutely. Amen to that. Excuse me. Sister Rita says she lost her mom and dad and husband within 3 years. Oh, I'm so sorry. So sorry to hear that. Well, we'll absolutely be praying for you, Rita. You know, just to receive that knowing in your heart and your spirit that your family is okay, is where they're supposed to be. You know, when you receive that knowing from the Creator, when God puts that in you, that you know they're okay, it is the most insane feeling. I got that when my mother passed away. I was destroyed, and standing there, going back and forth from the front pew to the casket where she laid. And it was on her birthday. Excuse me. My mother's birthday fell on April 25th. My sister was April 26th, and mine is April 28th. So every year we celebrated together. We had one birthday party, the three of us. With that particular year, the 25th of April, my mother was in a casket. And I laid a birthday card under her hand in the casket. And I would get up from the pew and I would come up and look at her, and I kissed her on the forehead, and I was really distraught over it. And I sat down, and Lori was with me, and she said, "Are you okay?" And I told her, I said, "No, I'm not okay. My mother's in a casket. I am not okay with that." And something came over me. I told her, I said, "I just wish that she would wake up and look at me and say, 'Donnie, I'm okay,' and then go back to sleep." And I told her, I said, I would have no problem with it. But she's not. I don't know if she's okay. And I was really distraught over it. But then I started shaking. It started in my chest and my heart. It was a extremely powerful shake, a vibration. And then my hands and my feet, my legs, I was shaking violently. And Lori put her hand on my knee, and then she looked at me. She said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "No, something's wrong." And she said, "What's going on?" And I told her, I said, "I don't know, but I've got an overwhelming desire to start laughing. And somehow I know Mom is okay. I know without a doubt she's all right." Well, I stood up and I walked over to the casket, and I looked at her, and I didn't recognize her. I didn't know who I was looking at. And I got inches from her face, and I was looking at her face like that. And I looked at Lori and I said, "They took my mom." And she said, "No, they didn't." I said, "This is not my mother." And it did not look like her at all. I did not recognize that person, but I couldn't understand where they took her. I was sitting in the front pew, 5 feet from the casket, and it never moved. But that body in the casket was not my mom. And she said, "That is your mother." I said, "Lori, it's not. I promise you, I don't know who that is." And you're going to think I'm um, I'm odd, but I took my knuckle like this, and I went up and I knocked on her forehead, right there on her head. I knocked on it, and I touched her, and I looked at Lori, and I knew that was not a real body. And I looked at Lori, I said, it's a mannequin, that's plastic." And I was very serious. And she said, "No, it's not." I said, "Lori, that is not a body." I said, "It's empty. It's hollow. It's plastic." And I was feeling her hand, and I looked over at her. I said, I'm ready to leave. I want to go to Pizza Hut. I'm going to get some pizza." And all the depression, the sorrow, everything was gone. But I knew without a doubt my mom she was fine. She was where she was supposed to be, and I had no doubt on it. Now, I was not saved when that happened. I was not living right. I did believe in God. I did pray when I was in trouble or I needed help. I didn't pray daily like I do now. But my sister Tina was there at the funeral. And Tina, even way back then, she was very saved, gave her life to Christ, speaking in tongues. She walked in the Holy Spirit. And I went over to Tina and I said, "Tina, I want to talk to you." I said, "Something's wrong." And she said, "Well, what's going on?" And I told her, I said, I don't know. I'm shaking. I got so much energy. We were in Nashville, Tennessee at the time. And I told her, I said, I can run from right here back to Panama City. And I don't think I'd even be out of breath. I said, I got that much energy and all I want to do is laugh. I can't contain it. I was fighting. I was struggling not to laugh. Well, she starts jumping and like in place and clapping her hands, going, "Oh my God, oh my God." Well, now I was really scared. And I said, well, what's going on? Something that I don't. She said, "You're filled with the Holy Spirit. He's in you right now." And it blew my mind. I was like, oh my God. It was such an amazing, powerful feeling. I never experienced that before. And I haven't experienced it since. That was the only time it ever happened. But I knew without a doubt that my mother was okay. I knew I would see her again. There was no second guessing it. And I would give anything to have that feeling one more time, just to have it one more time. It was the most amazing thing I ever experienced. But I know without a doubt, as humans, we live right, we give our life to our Creator, and we do what we believe we were put here to do and be kind to one another. We will see our loved ones again. We're going to be back in their arms and back in their company. It's coming. Yeah, absolutely. Flat Rock live stream is so great a place to take these stresses off one's mind. Absolutely. It's some of the greatest times that I have is right here talking with you guys. You learn so much about another person, no matter how close you are to them, and no matter how close you get to them, you learn more about them. And just seeing a lot of what you guys are writing in the chat, I miss a lot of it. Please forgive me if you've put something in that I've missed. I cannot talk and read at the same time, and it's just I've never been able to. It has nothing to do with the brain injury. It's just the way I've always been, and I get sidetracked very easy. But it's just being here. You guys, all of you, it's so uplifting. You don't realize how much power y'all have as a whole, and what it's done for me tonight. Just being here with you and reading the comments and what you guys are saying in there is absolutely phenomenal, and I owe you the world for it. Thank you tremendously. We have such a wonderful thing here, and I believe without a doubt that God has lined all of us up to bring us together. The friends I have here and you all go so far beyond friends. Y'all are my family here. And you can ask anybody that knows me on a personal level outside of YouTube. Anybody I meet when I talk to them about our channel. And I do not call our family on YouTube subscribers. I do not like that word at all. I know it's the politically right word for what we are when we join another channel, but it doesn't say uh, it doesn't give the full meaning of who we are as a whole, and you all are our family, and I call you guys our extended family, and it's emails when I email other people, or a text message people, or talking to them on the phone. I always when I'm talking about you all, I say my extended family, and that's what I've always called it, and that's what it absolutely feels like family. And there's so many of you that I do know on a personal basis. There's so many, and it's the blessings it's brought to me and my family. Uh, Knowing you guys is absolutely untouchable. There's no way I could ever put it into words. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Pappy said it right there. When you take time to sit and really talk with each other, you'll always find how very much we have in common in spite of the differences. Absolutely. I'm in 100% agreement with you, Brother Pappy. Absolutely. Oh, thank you, Sharon. Uh, I miss a lot of the chat. I try to stay on top of it, but it gets so hard, and I don't. It's strange. I know without a doubt that I'm talking directly to you all, but it's hard for me to read the chat, which is over here. I don't know if you see my finger. It's on that side of the screen. Um, to read that, and I'm not looking at you. You know, I have to look at the camera to look directly at you, and it. Uh, I've gotten used to it now. It feels that I'm looking into your eyes while I'm talking, and it's hard to read the chat and do that. And that's where I get messed up when I do that. Uh, but I try. I absolutely try. Yeah, Brother Mike, thank you so much. He appreciates the opportunity to fellowship with his family. And, you know, we are one. All of us are one. Uh, Jay Cree, have a good night. Absolutely have a good night. Jay Cree from Canada, that's where I want to be. I don't think I'd survive your winters, but I would love to be there until it gets real cold. Thank you so much for jumping over there and visiting with us. All of you, thank you so much. Oh, there's Franklin. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the notifications. I'm not getting any of them now, and I was getting them. I haven't been on YouTube in almost probably a week and a half. I tried to watch or listen to some videos on it, and I just couldn't do it. My mind has been elsewhere, but I haven't gotten any notifications at all. And the only one I get is from a news channel, and I'm not subscribed to it. And I went to the well, it's been several months back. I went to the channel where I'm getting these notifications to unsubscribe, and I was not subscribed to it. And so I clicked the button anyway, and it said that I was subscribed. And then I clicked it again and unsubscribed, and I still get notifications from that channel, but I don't get them from any of the others. And our brother Mike, Michael Deere, has been with us for a long time, and he doesn't get notifications at all. And I don't know why YouTube's doing that. I've had a lot of people tell me any channel that puts out any type of truth, and if you speak about the big guys, the Sasquatch, or any of these other creatures, or God, then they mess around with your notifications. I don't know if that's true, but I'm hearing it a lot. It wasn't that long ago when Steve Isdall from the How to Hunt channel, he had talked about it. I guess probably April or May. I watched one of his videos, and he had mentioned the same thing, and it's happening to him and a lot of people over on his channel. And he's got a lot of people in his YouTube family, a huge pile of people. Yeah, Juanita, you're absolutely right. It's better to have friends than to have enemies. And you know, I've tried to always go through life in a way that I don't have any enemies. I just have friends that I haven't met yet. And it's, you know, the more people that you meet, you socialize with, and just be kind to them, you start building this circle around you in the area where you live, anywhere you visit. Say hey to somebody, do a brief introduction, wish them a, wonderful day, bless them, and you plant that seed in them. And eventually they're going to cross paths with you again, or somebody that knows you, and your name comes up, and you start building this circle, and it all comes back to you. And it's I believe that's part of reaping what you sow. You plant that seed in them, and eventually it will come back to you. And when it comes back to you, it comes back mature. And that's when life really takes a turn and starts getting to be phenomenal. Yeah, that is where it go. I just seen Pappy on there. Yeah, there he is. Brother Pappy. If we teach ourselves to look at the spirit that is inside another, then we can see the same spirit within us that has come from Creator that makes us all related. Natives say all my relations. Yep, absolutely. I like that. I like that a lot. Our super wise brother Pappy. And guys, if you don't know who Pappy is, y'all really need to get to know him. I spoke to him a year or so ago. I was having a rough time, and I called him and talked to him on the phone. And I will tell you, that man is so far um, above what you could call wise, a wise man. He is so far beyond that. And one of the greatest men that I have ever had the pleasure of speaking to, and that is Pappy Two Bears. And what an amazing man. And you definitely got get to know the firecracker in the bunch, Seven Pearls. There's never a dull moment when Seven Pearls is in the house. That's an absolute. I love her to death. I don't know if you guys can hear that. That's thunder. I think it's fixing to rain again. Recognizing the divine in others. Amen. Absolutely. Yeah, Seven Pearls is right on the money. Pappy has become our native elder. Yep, I'm definitely in agreement. Brother Pappy, one of these days I'm going to make it up there and come and knock on his front door. I got to shake the hand of the man. You don't meet very many people like that in life. At least I haven't. Pappy is definitely one of a kind. Yeah, absolutely. Flat Rock Boogers says take the twinkle out of your eyes before you judge another. Now, I got to put that up. That is something to think about. You know, that's the type thing that we need to get printed on T-shirts and to wear around town, especially the day that we live in right now. Wow. That is awesome. Thank you, Brother Flat Rock, for super wise words. Always wise words to the people. Absolutely. Yeah. Denise said she stayed for a little over a month in Florida, and boy, did I cry when I had to leave. I love Floridians. I wish you were back down here, Denise. I really do. I'd love to have some company in some of these places that we go to. Some of the areas that I walk to have had a lot of activity. One of the areas, it doesn't happen every time I go out there, but when it happens, it's not subtle. You know, you don't hear just a set of footfall leaving you, and you know, maybe a little twig or something come flying at you every now and then. When it happens out there, it gets a lot of big logs come flying over the trees toward you. They don't come at you, but they come pretty close, and then you start getting that weird talking. It's a very strange muttering, mumbling stuff, and that gets real eerie. That creeps me out when it happens. But usually those areas, I can't never get anybody to go with me out there. And if I go by myself, something happens. And I haven't been out there in a while. I haven't been out there in over a year in that spot. Well, guys, it is starting to rain. I'm going to wrap it. Oh, we've been on 3 hours? Oh, my Lord, I am so sorry. I didn't mean to keep you guys tied up so long. I get carried away very easily. And I haven't seen y'all in so long. I had to come on here. I just wanted to, just send my love to all of you and my gratitude for you guys who just went over and beyond, and just offering a shoulder to us and being there. And that goes so far. And I'm so extremely grateful. Thank you all. I love each and every one of you more than I could ever express in the human language. I don't think it's even possible. But thank you for being a part of this family. You guys are what makes it what it is. And Francesca, thank you so much. It's been so good just having everybody, Flat Rock Booger, being here, and it's when you see all these people that you're bonded to, it does something to you when you see their name come up in the chat. It just it's like an enlightenment. It's a spiritual thing, and I'm so grateful for it. Every one of you, what a wonderful thing we have here. Rita, thank you so much, and I absolutely love you. I love all of you guys and gals here. Y'all are what makes this what it is, and we certainly wouldn't be here without you. I can't thank you enough. I will be getting things back to normal and getting back in the woods soon. The weather is going to be a hamper on us for a little while. We got, I seen Linda on there. Oh, yep, absolutely. I'm going to throw this up, guys. Y'all, please pay attention to this one too. We got several people here, our family we need to pray for. Our sister Linda, please pray for me to get back to God more after my divorce after 33 years. Wow. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's come together in prayer and let's make this happen. She's part of us. We can't have one of us knocked down. We can't have any of us hurting spiritually or physically. We got a lot of people here that need prayer, and every one of us need it. But there's quite a few of us that need it a little more than the rest of us. And please, let's pray for these people. There's so many that need it. No, Franklin, I don't have any updates on the pigs. I have not done anything over there. We've been literally tied up solid for almost 3 weeks. It's been a train wreck with Kim's father passing and then the hurricane coming through, and that postponed the funeral, and it's just been a mess. But things are getting back to normal, and I will be setting back up. We'll be getting videos out. I'll be back in the woods as soon as the rain slacks off, and we'll be doing some more shows, and hopefully I can get some of these stories. I don't know where I put them. I had a couple. They were not sent to me. It was stories I found on the internet, old stories, and I wanted to share them, and I had to write them by hand. I couldn't copy them. It wouldn't let me copy it on the page. And so I copied them by hand, and I do not know where I put them, but I'll find them. If not, I'll just pull them back up again and screenshot it or something where I can read them off to you. But it's pretty amazing encounter stories from way back when. But guys, thank you all. I love each and every one of you. If there's anything at all that I can do to help you, if there's anything that you need that or you think that I can provide, please reach out to me. I may be a little slow at replying right now, but I will absolutely get back to you. I promise you. And thank you guys. Thank all of you. And my sister, Seven Pearls, and Brother Pappy, all of you. Brother Rick, it's so good to see you. And of course, my Francesca, that's my super sister. Y'all are absolutely phenomenal. And always keep the glory of God upon you and in front of you, and enlighten all of those that are around you. We can affect them without saying a word. And when you're living right and you keep the spirit within you high, when you get near people, they sense it on you. And it's a good thing when you hear them say to their family member, friend that's with them, I don't know what that person has, but I want some of it. Carry that light with you. We all have access to it. Whatever you call God, however you worship our Creator, that same glory is available to all of us. We live our life glory to glory. and there's no room for failure in between there. We just got to go through the hard things. But God bless each and every one of you. I love you all, and I absolutely look forward to seeing you again soon. And in the next couple of days, we'll get together, and we'll try not to stretch it out this long, but we'll come together and make it happen. Have a good night. But y'all have a wonderful night and a phenomenal weekend. And until I see you guys again, please always be safe. God bless you and good night.